Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the 18th annual Richmond 400. On the front row, Jeff Bodine, winner of the Daytona 500 last week. And alongside Jeff comes Terry Labonte. 5 victories to his credit. In row 2, Darrell Waltrip, 2-time winner of this event, and Bobby Hill in Midland, Texas, who finished 4th last week. Row 3, it's Ron Bouchard from Fitchburg, Massachusetts, and Missouri's Rusty Wallace will be starting alongside. Going to row 4, there's Lake Speed, and with him comes Chesapeake, Virginia's favorite, Ricky Rudd. For row 5 today, Bill Elliott, the awesome man of last year, and with him comes Dale Earnhardt, defending champion of this race. For row 6, it's Phil Parsons on the inside, and alongside is Kyle Petty. Going to row 7, there you have Tommy Ellis, who got the biggest round of applause, a great favorite here in Virginia, and Canada's Trevor Boyce. In row 8 will be Tim Richmond, still injured, walked out here in a cane today, and Buddy Arrington from Martinsville, Virginia. In row 9, there's Joe Ruttman with the new Kenny Bernstein team, and alongside is the Hal Needham car for Harry Gant. Going to row 10, Neil Bonnet, who crashed so hard here a year ago, and Greg Sachs is there. Row 11 for today, Mike Waltrip of Owensboro, Kentucky. This is a rookie row. Doug Heveron is alongside from Liverpool, New York. In row 12, twice champion of this race, Bobby Allison from Alabama, and with him comes Dave Marcus in the Helen Ray car. Row 13 is Kirk Bryant from North Carolina, and J.D. McDuffie is in the field. Row 14 is the 6-time winner, driving hurt today, Richard Petty, and the rookie, Davey Allison. Row 15 is last year's Rookie of the Year, Ken Schrader, and Jimmy Means from Alabama. And one provisional starter on today's field. In the 31st position, Eddie Virchwell takes over in car number 48, which had been scheduled for Ron Esau.
If you people at home are trying to figure out how this starting lineup came being, here's how NASCAR determined the starting lineup. Positions 1 through 18 was determined by current Winston Cup standings. Position 19 and 20 was determined by 1985 race winners. Position 21 through 30 determined by receipt of entry blanks at NASCAR and how they signed in the racetrack, and started. Position 31 is a provisional starter.
In the old days, they used to draw for positions, and this is the second time qualifying trials have been washed out at Richmond. The first time, 62, and Herman Bean drew the pole. Only time in his career. And Herman, known back in those days as the Turtles, followed the pace car right down pit road at the start of the race, rejoined the race in the back of the field.
But Ken, I'll guarantee you Jeff Bodine is not going to follow the pace car down pit road.
That was a race that Rex White won after he had started in 20th. We're a lap away from a start. 2 laps away from a start.
They're giving these cars an extra lap or 2 today just to warm the tires and the gearbox, the rear ends up, because it's cold out here. It's about 45, 50 degrees. These cars have been sitting there all morning. They're cold.
There you see Harry Gant trying to get some warmth in those tires. Skating rink, and next to him is the Quaker State car, number 26. Skull Bandit, Harry Gant right there, and alongside comes Joe Ruttman. Boy, it was bad on Ruttman. He had the second fastest time in practice, 1 more lap, and then they did not get a chance to get out here and run. Slick, just plain slick, said Bill Elliott, who got sideways out here trying to qualify. He said, I have driven on ice. It wasn't that slick. Richard Petty said, all I wanted to do was bring the car back, and if I couldn't do that, I wanted to find some soft place to land. I scared myself out there. And Darrell Waltrip, about trying to qualify yesterday, said it was the stupidest thing NASCAR's ever done. It's the worst I've ever seen, trying to make a man qualify in the rain. Heck, you can't even see out there. A lot of controversy, and then they couldn't get the last 13 cars in, and so they came out and used this new system with the top 18 cars coming through points after race 1 at Daytona. Then the 2 winners from last year, that would be the Earnhardt car and Bonnet, and the rest were by postmark. Here we come, down for a start. Bodine, who was the quickest in practice unofficially, on the pole. Terry Labonte right beside it, ready for the start of the Richmond 400 live here on the Superstation. Field is away, skating down through turns 1 and 2. We can't overemphasize how tricky it is to get around this racetrack.
Terry Labonte got a tremendous break, was able to get down on the inside. I talked to Terry this morning. He was very concerned about that.
On the start, Bodine is first. Terry Labonte is in second. Bobby Hill and Holmes third. Rusty Wallace is in fourth. Big story on Wallace after last week at Daytona. Feels that he was taken out of $25,000 on that finish. Back straightaway in the fifth position is car number 11, Waltrip. And then comes Ron Bouchard in sixth. Coming around to complete lap number 2. Bodine drawing away by 4 car lengths as he scoots into turn number 1.
Bodine seems like he really has things going his way right now. Bobby Hillin back in third spot's kind of holding up the train. If they can get by him, maybe they'll go up and give Bodine some running room.
I don't think anybody wants to run hard right now. They want to get the tires warmed up. They want to wear off some of that material that's put down on the pavements. They get a little better bite later. They don't want to crash this early, that's for sure.
Exactly right. The only people that are really concerned is Richard Petty. There we see Richard. He started way back, 27th. He needs to get by and up front as quick as he can. There he's passing Kirk Bryant down in turn 1.
Richard Petty getting around. He's also pulled by Schrader in number 43. Remember, he's driving hurt. Petty in car number 43 on the move. Closing up on Allison, who had a great start in Daytona. Bobby Allison just in front of Petty, trying to move in. Richard Petty slamming up through traffic as he comes along. They get about 110, 115 mile an hour in these 660-foot straightaways. 790 feet through the degree of turn. It's banked 12 degrees in the corners. Leader, there you see him, Bodine. Petty from 27th on the climb, now up to 20th.
It looks to me like Terry Labonte has gained just a few car lengths. Terry Labonte's Oldsmobile on the move right now.
Darrell Waltrip is trying to make a move in turn number 1 as you see them speeding down the main straightaway. Waltrip is on the climb. He's moving up. Takes over in 4th. There you see Terry Labonte's number 44 secured in that second position. Coming around in 3rd, Bobby Hillin, and now Waltrip into 4th. Back to 5th goes Bouchard. Lake Speed runs next. And then comes number 15, Ricky Rudd, from the in-car camera. Perhaps a glimmer here of what it looks like as they try to truck their way. That's Harry Gant going into the back straightaway to 600 feet and make your cut. Down he goes into turn. Got a scramble and into the wall. 2 automobiles. Look like Arrington is one of them. I'm not so sure, but what's that? The 6th car. It is the 6th car.
That's Trevor Boyce, Ken. Looks like he's got serious damage to the right front of that car.
First caution coming with 8 laps complete. Gets it cranked up. This is a track that can just chew you alive.
A slippery racetrack. You see the car goes sideways. Looks like Arrington, who first broke loose, caught a little piece of Bryant's car number 2, and down on the low side, check it, it was Boyce who broke first, and he hits the outside wall. Down to the bottom goes the 67 of Buddy Arrington. They're the 2 cars that have sustained the most damage, and Bryant got the brunt of it as his nose is pretty badly beat up. We'll get back to the Bodine story right now. Let's go to Chris Economaki.
Well, we're down here in Trevor Boyd's pit where the heat level damage is being repaired. We wanted to get a word with Trevor about the condition of the track, but they're going to send it back out.
Oh, we've got a crash in turn 1. Lake Speed is in hard.
It's back to the track.
Lake Speed on the restart, getting loose and slamming into the retainer at turn number 1. Lake Speed gets it fired. Field back under caution. Let's take a look and replay of what happened to Lake Speed, Benny Parsons.
Well, he tries to cut down the hill. Ricky Rudd is right underneath him. Lake Speed came down the hill. Rudd touched him in the left rear quarter and spins him into the guardrail with the left side.
A thumper. There's Earnhardt diving to the inside, and Earnhardt is on the move. He's picking up positions in the early going. Here's Lake coming around in car number 75. Second place finisher at Daytona a year ago, trying to get his luck straightened out. We got another look at this. Let's have another look at what happened to Lake Speed, and we expect it to be this kind of a wreck-em rodeo today on this very slippery half mile. Real old-fashioned stock car racing live for you here today on the Superstation. Field is under caution once again.
What's happening right now that the only place to run on the racetrack is right on the bottom of the racetrack. Everyone is fighting for that spot. It's exactly what happened. Lake Speed was fighting for the inside. Rudd was already there. Lake turned down, hit Rudd's front with his left rear. Around he went.
Could be a whole lot of that today.
I would expect there will be.
All right, let's take a look at another replay of what happened to Lake Speed here.
We can see him on the outside. Rudd thinks he's alongside. Lake tries to come down. Rudd hits the left rear, and around he goes. Lake is lucky that he didn't hit with the full side of the car, because sometimes when that happens, your head goes out and hits the guardrail.
Car number 75, Lake Speed, brings out the second caution of the day, and we expect this one to be a wreck-strewn event. Looks like a take one, and they're going to send them away. Jeff Bodine continues to lead. He won over $200,000. There you see the number 6 rolling, but not able to come out. He's down at the bottom of pit road, all beaten up. And I think we're going to see a lot more cars just like this before the day is out. Getting ready on a restart. Back straightaway. Speed lost a lap in the pits. There's Bodine. He won $200,000 a week ago. Now you're inside Harry Gant's car. And you know where he was on the evening of his victory? Out celebrating, drinking champagne? No. 8:30, 10 o'clock at night. He was signing autographs at the Kmart in Daytona Beach, Florida. Jeff Bodine, people's kind of racer. Here he is, up in front, coming down for the start. There you see Labonte in second. Bobby Hill with that great finish a week ago in third. Waltrip in fourth. Bouchard in fifth. And in sixth is Earnhardt. Up to seventh, Bill Elliott. Elliott looking for a good finish today. He got slammed. In fact, the two Fords went out together. Lake Speed is out. Back straightaway. As they go into turn number 3. They're the leaders, and directly behind them, 3 cars spinning in the wall. Waltrip is in the wall. 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 automobiles have tangled up. And right where he crashed a year ago, there you see Bill Elliott's number 9 impaled. The number 9 of Elliott right up on the fence.
He's sitting on top of the guardrail. Someone must have blown an engine up there and got oil all over the racetrack.
Bouchard went away, then Waltrip, and then everybody got into it. Still out there is Richard Petty's car. Phil Parsons' car is destroyed in the front end, right in front of Petty's. Here's the 98 of Bouchard. Take a look at this. Hey, this may be the race that nobody wins.
I can't, but they're torn up so many cars up in turn 3.
We're showing 18 laps complete. 18 of 400 complete. On to pit road goes Darrell Waltrip's number 11. Look at Bouchard's car, all smashed up. Back at the Richmond Fairgrounds in Virginia for live coverage of the Richmond 400 today. And we're having Jeff Bodine as our leader, Terry Labonte in second, Bobby Hillen in third, Ronnie in fourth. His car, number 3, Dale Earnhardt. And there you see Waltrip, who is running 1 lap down, along with Petty, Speed, and Gant. And there is Neil Bonnet's car, who's pulled up into the 4th position. Neil Bonnet in the car number 12. Car number 11, the Waltrip car, a lap down. Is it terminal to lose a lap here, Darrell?
Well, it's not as bad as a super speedway. You get a lot of opportunities on a short track to get a lap back because there are a lot more cautions. And if your car is running well and you got a lap down and you could get enough cautions where you had the opportunity. I have even driven up laps here where the car was just fast and I could drive around the field and make up a lap that way. I'd rather be a lap down here or get a lap down here than I had at Daytona. It's much tougher at Daytona.
Light is off on the pace car. They'll resume racing at lap 35. Waltrip dives down to the inside. He's going to pull up alongside Bodine for the start. Comes up under the 95. Davey Allison scooting up to find the leaders. With him comes Lake Speed. Mike Waltrip, Darrell's younger brother, just coming out on the track. And we're set for a start.
Tremendous advantage that Darrell Waltrip has under NASCAR rules. Cars that are 1 lap down can pull on the left side of the fast cars. The leaders can pull up right alongside of them. Well, that lets a fast car like Darrell Waltrip 1 lap down can pull up. He has an excellent opportunity to get his lap back right now.
When he falls back as they come to the line, Bodine just jumped out in front. And Labonte comes around. It looks like there's some handling problems on Waltrip's number 11.
Darrell Waltrip all day has not been getting a good start. I don't know if the car isn't shifting well, exactly what the problem is.
The front 4 cars jump off by themselves. Down the inside, Earnhardt nails Hillen, gets it sideways, and he pulls up into third. Terry Labonte is in second. Bodine is in first. Back goes car number 8, Hill, and he falls back to fourth. And further back in the field, Bobby Allison's making a move underneath Neil Bonnet to take over in fifth.
Bobby Hill a moment ago coming off turn 4 did a great job saving the car because I thought he was in the guardrail.
Watch as they go back into turn from our high shot. That's just how tight this track is. And here comes Earnhardt looking on the inside. He slams it down to the bottom, and Earnhardt pulls up another spot. He didn't put a fender on car number 44 as he went through that time.
We can see the windshield coming off turn 4 on the 3-car Dale Earnhardt's automobile, and we can see just how far he had leaned over and cleaned that windshield.
Third spot belonging to Terry Labonte. Got a real smoker in the back of the field. That's Trevor Boyes slowing down. Looks like he's got some metal dragging on the wheel that's seizing up on him. Car number 6. Trevor Boyes coming in. That's it for Trevor. Some more work. He may get back out there. Meanwhile, Terry Labonte is getting high and moving up his car number 8.
That was 95. The Davey Allison car spun down in turn 1, but no caution flag. He was able to get the car righted, keep on going, and no caution flag.
Davey Allison, rookie driver. Meanwhile, up in front, car number 5. There you see Bodine, and here comes Earnhardt. This looks like a replay of the action on the 2.5-mile track a week ago.
Dale Earnhardt is really coming. I'll tell you what, early on, that is certainly a candidate for racer of the day. He started, what, 10th, 11th? He started 10th spot, already in second place.
Bobby Hillin stays right up there, too, in third spot. Good run for him. Labonte in fourth. Waltrip's car seems to have settled in for the moment. Bonnet has backed down the pace a little. He let Bobby Allison pull by.
Dale Earnhardt creeping up on Bodine. Just about 3 car lengths separate them right now.
Working lap 43. And indeed, Earnhardt is now. There's Richard Petty.
Back on the racetrack. Again, I wouldn't be one bit surprised if there was a substitute driver in the 43. We'll have to find out about that, but I doubt, as much pain as Richard Petty is in today, that he would continue on.
He came out with his arm wrapped up when he was introduced today. Looked like the Hall of Lame. Tim Richmond came out on a cane today. The 43 down in the bottom. Meanwhile, up in front, car number 5 stays up in front. The 43 car just went underneath the number 23, young Mike Waltrip. And you may be right, they may have changed some drivers around him. Now watch number 11 trying to get a lap back on the 44. Remember that 44 is running in the 4th position. Let's see if Waltrip's found the handle here at all.
He's alongside going in turn 1, but down the hill comes Terry Labonte. I don't think Darrell's going to force the issue this early on because he can't afford to get another lap or 2 down. If he does, chances of victory is going to go right out the window.
Slowest pace after that lengthy caution early in the going. Waltrip looks inside. 44, Terry Labonte just squares it off and stays right there. Meanwhile, up in front, car number 3. Dale Earnhardt is continuing his effort to close in. Now, Waltrip's taking another stab here, but not finding the mark.
Waltrip the 11. He knows he needs to get by the 44. He keeps trying everything he can. Terry Labonte, car 44, is having none of it. Oh, Earnhardt's right on the back bumper. Earnhardt in the 3 car, right on the back bumper of the leader, Bodine.
Kirk Bryant directly in front of them in the number 2. Out of turn number 2, there's Earnhardt taking the shot on the inside, and Kirk Bryant's there. Bodine using the lap car. They go back into 3.
Boy, he certainly used the proverbial pick that time. Kirk Bryant was the pick. Bodine used him beautifully.
Leaders by and into turn 1.
That's Mike Waltrip, the car right in front of him. A rookie in this race.
Whoa.
Oh, Earnhardt in the grass.
Lap car in front. He's going to wait again. Great struggle for first place. 50 laps complete this time by.
This was the story, Ken, throughout Daytona Speed Week, and now it's the story here again in Richmond. These two guys look like they're set to brawl all through the 1986 season. Reports of bad blood between these two drivers. Bodine and Earnhardt swapped sheet metal, banged fenders down there at 200 miles an hour last week, and you know Earnhardt wants by. We saw Earnhardt in this race a year ago bulldoze his way past Tim Richmond, knock Jeff Bodine out of the way, and go on and win the race. I'll guarantee you, you're going to see fireworks from number 5 and number 3. Those two guys are the dominant story in stock car racing right now, and they're inches apart on the backstretch.
They were the dominant story in this race a year ago, but it was switched around. Remember, Earnhardt won it, and Bodine was in second, and here they come. Crowd's up and excited about this one. Packed house, cold day, sun is out once again. Petty's number 43 back on pit road. But right now, the story's right here. Back into the dirt on the inside.
Earnhardt gets it sideways coming off the second corner. Car 3, Dale Earnhardt, is completely sideways off turn. He wants by.
See, they don't get more than 100 miles an hour in a straightaway, a little over that. And for these two guys, that's out for a walk. Around 1 and 2. Working lap 54. Earnhardt settling in there for a moment. Chevrolet's 1 and 2.
As you mentioned, this deja vu of last week, Daytona Beach, almost all day, Jeff Bodine or Dale Earnhardt, the 5 or the 3 leading the event at Daytona.
Remember Rockingham, that sportsman race? I mean, Earnhardt just drove right up underneath him and lifted him over, went by to win that one. And last week it was the other way around some. I mean, wherever you go, these two make a story. Bodine in first, Earnhardt in second. Two very capable, very physical drivers, and when they get to a short track like this, they'll really put on a show. Now let's see what Earnhardt will do in turn 2.
He keeps trying underneath coming off turn 2, but Bodine will not give him the room. The 5 car takes away that low group. He's determined not to let the 3 car, Dale Earnhardt, by on the inside.
Out of 4. It's that number 2 turn, and Bodine is going in just a tad easier here. Doesn't want to give up that inside at all. Comes off, stands on it down that 660-foot straightaway. And they're standing in the grandstand watching this bumper-to-bumper action live on the Superstation. Jeff Bodine, winner of the 1986 Daytona 500. All eyes are faced right toward this battle wherever it is around this half-mile track. A tad bigger than a half mile, not much. Here they are up on J.D. McDuffie. We've got a crash in the main straightaway. Number 2, Kirk Bryant has walloped the wall. Kirk Bryant's number 2. That car getting savaged another time. And the third caution of the day comes out on car number 2.
Back at the STP Pit Communication Center, Richmond Fairgrounds Speedway for a demo derby on a Sunday afternoon. The yellow has scrambled up the running order a little bit, but Bodine thus far with Earnhardt are the dominant stories here. The media at this event will select the hard luck driver of the day. The reporters who come to the race will vote and pick the driver who has had the toughest afternoon at Richmond. How they're going to pick, I don't know, given what we've seen so far, but Bill Elliott, Phil Parsons, and Ricky Rudd certainly all qualify as candidates. Elliott's smashing up a car here for the second year in a row. Ricky Rudd, a former winner of this race and the hometown favorite, demolishing his number 15. Phil Parsons, who had such a fine run down at Daytona, out of the event with a destroyed car and nominated on a second account for tough luck because he's Benny's brother. Back upstairs.
Now, that Goody's headache. I wonder if Elliott is even qualified now. He's come back out. He's 40 laps down. Some other guys like Ricky Rudd, they've just lost everything today. Their car destroyed in that crash up in turn number 3. It's really on the restart. We're going to see Dave Marcus, number 71, taking the flag from Harold Kinder. And in second spot, Jimmy Means, who's come all the way from 30th. The runner from down Alabama way, number 52, Means, will be in second position on the restart.
The 71, Dave Marcus, and 52, Jimmy Means, chose not to pit that time. That's what they're doing in the lead. And what a great opportunity for Darrell Walter to get one of his laps back, because his main competitors, Dale Earnhardt, Neil Bonnet, Jeff Bodine, Bobby Hillin, they're way back behind them.
Let's take a look at what happened to Harry Gant's car out here as we get ready on a restart. There was the skirmish. He's waving to the people behind him and telling them to back off. Ooh, did he take a wrap there. And then he's faced the other way, and there's Ricky Rudd right behind him. All right, that was from inside the Skull Bandit car. Green flag is out. 64 laps complete. The leader is car number 71, Dave Marcus. Marcus out in front in car number 71, the Helen Ray car. Waltrip trying to stay underneath him and stay in the lap.
Darrell Waltrip gets by. Lake Speed trying to come along with Darrell.
Lake Speed putting a little move on, keeping Marcus out there. Marcus won a rain-shortened event on this track. He's won this event in 76 and 82, the number 71. Now running in front. Waltrip getting his lap back, and Lake Speed making up a lap in the number 75 car. Second place remains with the Jimmy Means, number 52. Running third on the track is number 22, Bobby Allison, and running fourth is Neil Bonnet. Allison going third.
Back, if Waltrip can hang on to that lap he's got back and we get another caution, and based on what we've seen so far, he's going to be right back up there with the front runners. A big move for number 11, Darrell Waltrip, who has won 6 times on this racetrack. Keep in mind, Lake Speed, the second place car right at the right-hand edge of your screen, is many laps down. He was involved in one of those earlier crashes. Dave Marcus, number 71, is your race leader, but third on the racetrack.
Richard Petty's number 43 back on pit road another time. Get him with the back end of that car. That does not look good.
That's Dale Inman getting up. He was not getting up with much of a hurry, so it looks like that is almost over for the day. Look, Dave Marcus, great run for him. Tries to get by Lake Speed. That's Lake Speed in 75. Dave Marcus in 71 coming off the second corner.
One of the better tracks for Marcus in the 71. Lake Speed has made up a lap. He's had 8 top 5 finishes, and of course he's won here twice. Dave Marcus, racing Jimmy Means, and closing up now comes Allison in the 22 and Neil Bonnet in the 12 and the number 3 and the 5. And down to the inside as they make a shot there. That's Neil Bonnet trying to work inside of Allison. Earnhardt came out of the pits in front of Bodine, and that's the way they sit. Jimmy Means holding on to second, and on the outside, look at this move. That's Neil Bonnet hanging in on the wide side.
Neil Bonnet's going to lose a couple of spots if he isn't careful. The outside this early on is not the place to be. Dale Earnhardt, number 3, alongside Bonnet, moves him back a spot. And I'm sure Bodine's going to try to follow him. Yes, there comes Bodine in the 5 car, right alongside Neil Bonnet's number 12.
The key player here is that 52 of Jimmy Means. He hasn't got perhaps the most super swift engine as some of those others, but he knows how to hug the inside, and he stays down there. 71 Marcus off the pace. Leader Marcus falling back. 71 off it, and this is going to put Means out in front. Jimmy Means, Jimmy Smut Means of Alabama in front. Allison in second, and the Alabama gang now run 1-2-5. Means first, Allison second, Bonnet back in 5th.
Looks like a flat tire on the 71 car of Dave Marcus. 52, Jimmy Means. This is his day in the sunshine. What a great day for Jimmy.
Delighted to see a guy like Jimmy Means get a chance to lead. Allison bobbles for just a second. They try to close in on him. Going down, there goes Earnhardt on the inside. You see the blue and yellow number 3. Marcus coming back on the track. Back straight away. Number 52 is your leader, and then comes number 3. Closing up, closing on the leader. That's Earnhardt going after Means. Means stays first. Drives very smoothly down here into the corner. Earnhardt tries the inside. Gets a fender up. Earnhardt has as much power in that motor as anybody, and he has Jimmy Means pinned for the moment. Let's see if Bodine can move in there.
No, Jeff could not. Jimmy Means moved down quickly, got right behind the 3 car of Dale Earnhardt. Still, Jimmy Means running second.
Jimmy Means slugging it out, and here comes Bodine trying the inside another time. Let's see if Bodine will try it in 3. He gets his fender down there. Means a little high. They're battling for second position, and it's Bodine going up into second place. There's the leader, number 3. Here's that battle, and along comes Bonnet for third spot now. Bodine into second, and in the struggle for third on the inside, it'll be Neil Bonnet closing up. Jimmy Means stays right with him as long as he can. So out in front, it's the number 3. Earnhardt in first, Bodine back to second. Neil Bonnet is into third as the leader laps Greg Sachs. Let's go to the pits for this story from Jerry Garrett. Well, Ken, we're down here with Gary Nelson right now, Jeff Bodine's crew chief, and what does Jeff say about the car?
Jeff said the car is really handling well. You know, it's still early in the race. We ran a lot of laps under caution, and we really didn't get a good indication of how it's going to handle when the tires get hotter, but Jeff said things look pretty good right now.
You're behind Earnhardt now. Can you catch him? Can you pass him?
Well, that's not the important thing right now. It looks like Dale Earnhardt, ourselves, and Darrell Waltrip, if he gets back up in the hunt, are the three best cars at the moment. That can change, so we're just kind of feeling things out now.
Okay, well, Chris Economack has a report down pit road.
You're looking at Kirk Shelmerdine, the crew chief for Dale Earnhardt. Out in front, Kirk, what does Dale say about the car? How's it working?
Well, so far he says everything's pretty good.
Are there any marks on it? Have you made any contact with any of these guys in the accident?
No, we asked him about it because we got close there a couple times. He said we hadn't touched anybody.
Okay, calm and collected here in the Dale Earnhardt pit back outside.
Well, there you see that number 3 staying right up in there. He is pulled out in front. He overwhelmed a bunch of cars and gets himself right up into the thick of things here, battling through all kinds of traffic. Get himself back into first place. Bobby Allison has fallen back a little here, and the guy that's making the big move is car number 7. It is Kyle Petty, and Petty is pulled up into 4th position. There you see him. Kyle Petty is now in 4th, and he is closing on number 12, Neil Bonnet. Kyle's having a great day in the Wood Brothers car. Just about 2 car lengths in front of him. 3 car lengths is Neil Bonnet. There you see the 7 coming off the corner and trying to close in on car number 12, Neil Bonnet, as they scramble for the 3rd position. The 12 in the 3rd spot, and right behind him comes number 7, Kyle. In front remains Dale Earnhardt, number 3, and Bodine at number 5 has fallen almost a quarter of a lap back. Earnhardt, when he gets clear sailing, he's just pulled away, Benny.
Dale Earnhardt looks awesome today. He looks like there's no way in the world anybody on the racetrack can beat him. Although this is early, and who knows what's going to happen that last 100 laps once this racetrack really gets worked out and the cars can adhere in the turns.
Last 100, ask about the last 3 as far as Dale Earnhardt's concerned. What a struggle he had last week. I think that if Jeff Bodine had slowed down to 150-mile-an-hour average, Dale Earnhardt would have stayed in 2nd to that last lap. He really planned to win that race. It was just too bad that he had that fuel problem, because that was building to as great a finish as maybe 76 or 79. And I don't mean to say you got to have a wreck, but I just thought that was going to be a tremendous finish between these 2 young guys that just love to get out and race hard. They're racers.
They are very, very much racers, and it was going to be a great finish.
Again, Elliott is 40 laps down. Bill Elliott is back out 40 laps down. There you see Earnhardt using up all the racetrack now.
Bill Elliott's pit crew not getting very excited because there isn't too much to get excited about. Dale Earnhardt down the front straightaway with ease by himself.
Number 44, Labonte, is in. As we watch Earnhardt whistling by. There's Terry Labonte's car. Right front
tire completely flat.
Here's Jerry Garrett.
Well, Ken, it looks like a flat right front tire on Terry. He got real high going into turn 1 last time. They got up in the dirt there, the debris, and cut that tire down. That seems to be the only adjustment they're making on this car right now. They're concerned about the left front. The right front, excuse me. Getting back out now. Lost about a lap.
18 and a half seconds, and he was back on the track. Bouchard getting overlapped by number 3. Earnhardt looks like he wants to make a rout of Richmond. Here he is moving around car number 64. And remember that they changed the drivers on 64. Doug Heveron is in there today. Pancho Carter with a 64 car a week ago.
You know, as fast as Dale Earnhardt is running, and he has just simply driven away from the Jeff Bodine automobile, Darrell Waltrip is maintaining the distance between he and Dale Earnhardt. So Waltrip, if he can just get a caution flag right now, good race car, excellent opportunity to win today. Right now, all those those other cars in the picture with that number 3 are cars about to be lapped or just have been lapped. Dale Earnhardt all in the picture by himself. This is a leader, and no one's seriously contending right now.
What do you mean? There's J.D. McDuffie.
Well, J.D.'s out there.
Rumble Furniture, number 70. One of my favorites. J.D.'s run a lot of years. I wish he had a chance to lead like Jimmy Means did for a few laps.
It would be great because he has put so much into his effort. In Winston Cup racing, Jimmy Means, J.D. McDuffie, Buddy Arrington, so many of these fellows that have made this type of racing.
You bet they have, and you can talk all about the great ones, the Earnhardts, the Bodines, the newcomers, the Pettys, the Yarboroughs, but if you didn't have the Jimmy Means out there to run and the J.D. McDuffies, you guys wouldn't have anybody to go by. Wouldn't be much of a show.
You're exactly right. Dale Earnhardt, I just can't imagine, I just can't tell you how impressed I am today with the job that Earnhardt is doing, because this racetrack, as we mentioned at the top of the show, it was untried. It rained all weekend. They really didn't get to get any practice. All the chassis setups today was purely hit and miss, and obviously Earnhardt hit it very well.
Here in the STP Pit Communications Center of Richmond Fairgrounds Speedway, Dale Earnhardt looks like a very good candidate for a couple of special awards that are going to be given away here today. Earnhardt is involved in something called the True Value Hard Charger Award competition right now. In fact, he's leading that competition. The NASCAR people, the people who run the races here, keep track of the top 5 each lap. They're awarded points, and the top 5 at the end of the day, the top 5 True Value Hard Chargers split $5,000. We'll be telling you more about that throughout the day. And Champion Spark Plug Company spinning off their very successful program with Motor Week, where each week we honor the Racer of the Week on Motor Week Illustrated on WTBS. We'll also name the Champion Racer of the Day here at Richmond. And by golly, if Dale Earnhardt continues to truck the way he is right now, he's going to be tough to beat for that award as well.
105 laps have now been completed. Quarter of the distance, a little better done here. And the story is Earnhardt drawing away from Jeff Bodine, maintaining second position. Neil Bonnet in third, Kyle Petty fourth, Joe Ruttman is in fifth, Bobby Hillin is in sixth, Bobby Allison is in seventh, Ken Schrader is in eighth, Davey Allison is in ninth, Waltrip is in 11th. Jimmy Means has fallen back into the 12th position. There you see the leader, Earnhardt in the number 3. Let's take another look at that in-car camera replay, Benny.
Well, this is Harry Gant. He sees the smoke up there. He waves to the cars behind him. Look, I'm going to slow down. He moves up, and evidently somebody tapped him in the rear because he could not stop the car. Either that or he got out of the groove where the racetrack is very slippery and the thing wouldn't stop. The car made a 360, and we can see Ricky Rudd ran in the front of Harry's car, and we can see the damage on Ricky's car. We know that Harry's front end looks about the same.
Bad luck for the Hal Needham car. Hal decided to stay in Los Angeles to watch today's race. I think we spoiled his breakfast out there on the coast.
Oh, I am terribly sorry.
.108 complete. Earnhardt powering away from the field, using the lap traffic to his advantage now. Just drawing a bead on more and more distance between himself and the second place car. 11 cars are continuing to run in the lead lap. And on the latest rundown for a quarter of the distance, 100 laps, they were showing at 100 laps an average speed of 58.788. If you're just joining us, we had 2 hellacious wrecks right at the start of the event. And it is at the moment Earnhardt first, Bodine second, Bonnet third, Kyle Petty fourth, Ruttman running in fifth, going sixth. Bobby Hillin, the 7th spot at 100 laps, was being shown as the car number 27. Now were they reporting Rusty Wallace in 7th, then in 8th Allison, then in 9th the number 90 of Schrader, and in the 10th spot was Davey Allison with the 11th Waltrip. That was a 100-lap rundown. They were showing in 12th the number 95 again. I got 95-12. I think he's a lap down.
I believe he is too. Chrissy Conemack has something from the pits.
The number you see here, 85 and 7/8 inches, is the circumferential measurement of one of the tires in Jeff Bodine's pit, where stagger is all important to handling and success on this racetrack. The men have been taking tire pressures, checking stagger measurement, checking compound. The all-important tire combinations here at Richmond can mean victory or defeat. And you can see here They're logging all of the bookkeeping work. Inventory of tires and all the varieties they have here. Hopefully to get Jeff Bodine and Victory Lane before the day is out. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Tires a story here for sure today. They try to keep them as warm as they can. The temperature is just frigid enough so that keeping the heat in that fabric will be essential.
We've got a great race going right now. Darrell Waltrip trying to get by Bobby Allison. He cannot do it. Dale Earnhardt has closed up right on the back bumper. That's Waltrip in the 11. Dale Earnhardt in the yellow 3. That's Tommy Ellis in the red, white, blue car, number 18 underneath. And Bobby Allison in 22 in front. Darrell cannot get by. He's been trying lap after lap. Earnhardt right on his back bumper to put Darrell a lap down.
Remember that the Allison car, the 22, is in 7th position as they're now running on the track with Waltrip in 8th. And Earnhardt is trying to overtake them and put them a lap down. Earnhardt, of the blue and yellow number 3, has a 7 and 1/10 second advantage over Bodine in 2nd.
And Dale Earnhardt, once he gets up to this duo of Bobby Allison and Darrell Waltrip, he can't afford to sit back there, because if he does, Jeff Bodine in car 5 will catch him. So this is going to be interesting the next few laps.
Well, after a sputtery start, we've got down to some real racing. The race has fallen into a groove. And right now the battle is back here. 22, Bobby Allison, who looked like he really had it hitched up and then was out early at Daytona last week at Buick. And there goes Waltrip, and there you see Bodine. Trevor Boyce right in front of them, the number 6 being overlapped another time, many laps down. Important for those guys to try and keep scoring points, and owner points come into play here. They've changed the owner point system, 9, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, like in Formula 1 Grand Prix. For manufacturers' points, that is, this year. And the manufacturers' points count for these car owners as well. They really want to score well and be able to get the parts they need the following year.
As we watch Dale Earnhardt try to do something here with the number 22 of Bobby Allison and the number 11 of Darrell Waltrip, it's interesting to note the pit stop strategy here. We've had enough yellows today that nobody has had to make much in the way of green flag stops. Earnhardt's people told us just a moment ago as we work lap 120 and Waltrip tries the inside on Allison. Earnhardt will have to stop at lap 210 to 220. So they're about 90 laps away from a planned fuel stop if we stay green. We ask them if they're happy with the way things are going. They say we're just where we want to be. And obviously if he can put Waltrip another lap behind, Earnhardt is going to be even better yet.
Waltrip trying to work lower than Allison, and he's been fortunate. This time Allison really stays low. Bodine is closed up to 5 and 3/10 seconds behind number 3, the blue and yellow car. And notice that Earnhardt is being very careful here as he tries to lap the 7th and 8th place cars, 22 and 11. And again you see Waltrip down the inside. But he knows that Bobby Allison has probably more races on a short track than anyone here. And when you start to go inside Bobby Allison, you really want to plan carefully.
Well, they know, Bobby Allison knows if Darrell Waltrip manages to get alongside of him and pass him, Dale Earnhardt is going to go right with it, and that's going to put him a lap down. Earnhardt on the outside of Waltrip. Can he make the pass? I don't know. I don't think so.
Allison has used up a whole lot of racetrack each way. Smart driving by Bobby Allison. Fans love it. Look at Earnhardt looking this over. Here they come. Gets the nose of that Chevy Monte Carlo SS down beside that Buick. No, he does not. There you see the nose of the blue and yellow number 3. Earnhardt, the leader. And closing ground all the time. Jeff Bodine, second place man, as Earnhardt had this tremendous run going on this half-mile track. He takes on the aspects of roller derby in here as he tries to move around these two guys. It's live today on the Superstation.
Look at those people cheering. Some of them cheering, keep that Waltrip back there. Some of them cheering, come on, Darrell. And other one saying, Earnhardt, why don't you pass them both? And meanwhile, while all this, Darrell Waltrip almost spins.
He had it sideways. That's all Earnhardt needed. Now he has to deal with one of the Masters, Allison. Here comes number 11 back, and he nails it. He put a fender on it. put a bumper on it.
I didn't see what happened up in turn 2, but I know right now what happened. Earnhardt put a little bit of chrome worn on Darrell Waltrip. Darrell didn't like it. He told Earnhardt he didn't like it by that little tap coming off turn 4.
Just a little kiss, just enough to turn him sideways. Let's watch it here because this could be action.
Oh, I thought I saw something flying out. Evidently, Dale Earnhardt at 3 ran over something because they picked something up out of the groove, but obviously it wasn't something off his car.
That's the one thing that Earnhardt didn't need, was to get into any kind of a confrontation with the 7th and 8th place cars as Bodine continues to close ground. Dale Earnhardt, what kind of tactics do you need to win here?
It's going to take a combination of handling good, running good, and using your head and using the throttle real well. And the track up here gets a little slick. You're going to have to, use your head and use the throttle a lot. Not get too anxious and make the car get too loose. It's just a combination of working with the car all day.
There's Earnhardt shooting the gap. He goes through, and Waltrip goes through. Waltrip moves to 7th. Allison falls to 8th. And apparently the fender, the right front, is a little ding on car number 3 from that confrontation with car number 11.
I thought I saw some smoke off the right front of that car coming off turn 4. Dale Earnhardt can't afford. Now we can see just a little bit of smoke. He can't afford to sit out there too long and let that right front tire blow. Because if you watch last year's Richmond 400, you saw what happened when Neil Bonnet blew a right front coming off turn 2.
Right through the fence. He impaled that Chevrolet Monte Carlo, then went through it. Now there's number 3, and the question is, will they bring him in? I think we need to get to the number 3 pits and see what the plan is on the Richard Childress car. You can see that fender now.
It's rubbing that.
And there's some smoke coming off that. That's not conducive to a happy day. Earnhardt in the number 3. Bodine in the number 5. We're checking interval 1 to 2 here. Bodine willing to just wait. He doesn't seem anxious to come up through. Do any fighting right now as we have 132 laps complete. The interval is 2 8/10 of a second between first and second, with Wetman in third, Bonnet in fourth, Kyle Petty in fifth, Bobby Hillin in sixth. Rusty Wallace is in seventh. Briefly, they had him a lap down. That's not true. And remember, that's what happened to Wallace last week. They had him a lap up, lap down. They now have him in that lead lap. Spent about 15 minutes in Daytona trying to make that accurate. Rusty Wallace says it was not accurate, and he's still really hot about it. He said it cost him $25,000. Yeah. A lot different than $25. $25,000.
I don't have any comment since I was a benefactor of about 10,000 of that. I will not have a comment.
Did you decide towards the end of that race last week that maybe letting the 3 and the 5 go was the right thing to do?
Well, I was
right in the middle of it there.
I was right. I was a lap down right behind them, and I decided that with 2 laps to go, I was going to definitely get out of there and watch from a distance who was going to win that Daytona 500.
When the judges score this thing afterwards, as in a prize fight, Ken and Betty, and add up the punches and figure out who hurt who the worst, I think it's going to be important for them to note that that damaged right front on Earnhardt's car came when he hit Waltrip and not the other way around. Those two swapped blows. Earnhardt got that lick right there as he went under Darrell Waltrip and put a move on him to do it. Waltrip came back up inside him and smacked him back, but the damage that Earnhardt has sustained came when he was the aggressor, and when they settle it later, that may become an issue, because if Earnhardt has to come in and fix that fender, if he has to come in and pull it away from the tire, or worse yet, if that fender cuts that right front tire and he smacks the wall, you know he's going to be an unhappy man, and Darrell Waltrip, a 6-time winner here, is going to pick up a spot.
You know, Benny, if I had to vote for the champion spark plug racer of the day at this moment, I'd take that number 52 at Jimmy Means. What a show he has been putting on. He's not one of those guys that gets a chance to run up front, but he's driven smoothly all day, and that 52 is still staying very much in the hunt.
And, you know, look at the back window on that automobile, kid. It's got the square window from last year. That's not a new car. That's one of Jimmy Means' old cars, but yet he's up there running very well today.
Running in 11th position, Alabama's Jimmy Means, having a great one here on our live coverage on the Superstation of the Richmond 400. It was for $1 million. They raced just a week ago. Now it's a little over $300,000, better than $250,000 to be decided here. And it's guys like Jimmy Means that grew up on tracks like this, and Greg Sachs in number 10. And apparently he just touched the wall again, although it's pretty hard to tell. He's hit every panel on that one this afternoon.
There's some confusion as to what's wrong. The TRW crew went over there, but they're trying to figure out exactly what's wrong with the car.
Let's go to Chris Economac.
Okay, here's Kurt Schoenberg, Dale Earnhardt. The right front corner of the number 3 car's been in. What does Dale say about it?
It's not hurting anything.
Not hurting anything. Okay, they don't say much here, but they know everything is okay in the Earnhardt pit. Back to you.
I would doubt very seriously that Dale Earnhardt in the 3 car knows that the right front fender is rubbing the tire, because we can see just a little bit of smoke as he comes off the corner. I don't think he can see that from inside the car, nor can the crew see it from the pits. There's Jeff Bodine trying to get Bobby Allison. That's Michael Waltrip at 23. We remember how much trouble Darrell Waltrip had a few moments ago, and Dale Earnhardt. Bodine's going to have some of that same problem with Bobby Allison in 22.
Up to lap, the 22 comes car number 5, Bodine. Don't you think they told him on the radio that he may have a problem developing?
I don't know that the crew can see it on the 3 car. I don't know they can see the problem.
I'll bet you Chris told him.
Yes.
Here comes Bodine down to the inside, putting a lap on Bobby Allison in the 22. They now have Wallace in 7th, Waltrip to 8th, Allison in 9th. That's the 9th place car you see getting lapped.
And that car you saw right behind Jeff Bodine with no front end on it, that's the 98 car of Ron Bouchard.
And he is out of the top 15 at the present time in the latest rundown. Average speed is up to 63.7. 144 laps have now been completed in the Richmond 400.
As the scramble for positions continues here in the Richmond 400, the value of those positions up front is increased in this race and all Winston Cup races by the True Value Hardware Hard Charger Award. The top 5 cars each lap score points. 5 for the leader, 4 for second, 3 for third, and so on back. At the end of the race, the top 5 drivers in total points split $5,000. At this juncture in the race, Jeff Bodine is still leading.
We have a crash in turn 2. It is number 2, Kirk Bryant, and number 25 is also involved. That is the Tim Richmond car that has crashed as well. Richmond's car is right. They both spun. They both took the wall. There you see Tim Richmond driving away from it. And the number 2 car trying to get righted and come around. Under caution. Fifth caution of the day. Kirk Bryant, number 2. This is a break for those leaders. Right rear tire down on Tim Richmond's number 25. Kirk Bryant comes in.
There's Dale Earnhardt, car 3, making a pit stop. Darrell Waltrip down pit road. You know that Darrell wants to beat him back on the racetrack.
Let's go to Chris.
Okay, we're down here now. They're working on the right front corner. There's Kurt Schoenberg. We're opposite him. Changing his wheel. We'll see if he tries to move the bodywork out. The hoses are in front of the car. Apparently has finished his work on the right front, and now they're going to change the left side tires. The car is streaked with oil. It's quite clean, but there are no evidence of contact on the left side of the car. Earnhardt is confident, and away he goes.
Car number 11, Waltrip, back on the track.
He wins the race out of the pits. Darrell Waltrip first out, so he has an opportunity to get his lap back one more time.
Car number 8 pitted 1 lap early, and he lost a lap. Bobby Hillin. Bad break for him. Well, Earnhardt is back on the track, trying to win it back-to-back. He's been running here since 1979 in this event. There you see Kirk Bryant's number 2, and there's Dave Marcus pulling in 71. Earnhardt's been coming here a long time, however. He was here, I believe, in 57 when his dad, Ralph Earnhardt, finished 9th, back when this was a 200 lap. Dale Earnhardt in a tremendous struggle, and he's got one building now because he'll have to fight with Waltrip again, and this time it's going to be for the lead. 11 will be in front, and behind it will come the number 3, the blue and yellow car, when they get ready for a go. Earnhardt has been among the first 7 finishers in each of the last 6 Richmond 400s, and he won last year. He was second to Bobby Allison in 83, his latest race charge falling short by some 3 car lengths. Number 2, that is the Bryant car, prepared by crew chief Darrell Bryant for Cliff Stewart and driven by Darrell's son Kirk. They started to roll it back behind the wall, and now it's being pushed back. I'm not quite sure what the final plan is. I think they're just going to roll it down pit road and put it away for the day. The car number 11 is being reported on the tail end of the lead lap. He got out there, but he's on the tail end of the lead lap. Bobby Allison pulls up. The big story on this restart would be number 26, the Rutland car, the Quaker State car, running in second position.
What a great run, because, you know, we can look at his car on the right side. It has no right side practically. He was in that accident up there in turn 3. He's fought his way back. He's in second spot.
He had been in 9th on one of the latest rundowns. 157 laps complete. Now that we have experienced this next caution, he has a chance to run up in front. That car really took some abuse. He stayed with it and stayed on it. He had a terrible crash last week, and then Harry Gant literally ran over him with the Skoll car. Here they are, ready on a restart. Winston Cup competition coming to you live on the Superstation from Richmond, Virginia. Down the line, the break, and into turn number 1. Earnhardt draws away. There you see Waltrip, who has now been put a lap down to that leader.
Rutland's got a tough spot. Car 26, the green car back there, hung on the outside. He gets by Bobby down the front straightaway, though. By Bobby Allison in car 22.
See the right side of that car badly chewed up on number 26, Joe Rutland. Leader Earnhardt. Let's see if he'll break away as he did earlier. On this restart, Earnhardt first, Rutland second, Bodine third, Kyle Petty fourth, Neil Bonnet fifth, Rusty Wallace sixth, followed by Waltrip and Allison. 6 cars running in the lead lap. Darrell Waltrip right now 1 lap down. So you have to drive a little on the heavy side. Do you have to really get dirty to get ahead out here, Darrell?
Well, you certainly can't be courteous. On a super speedway, at 200 mile an hour, you let up a little bit and let a guy back in line. You go down in a corner and you feel the car sliding up a little bit and you let out because you don't want to take a chance on running into somebody. You throw all those things aside when you get here. You go in low, you go in hard. If you bump a guy, you bump a guy. If a guy cuts you off, you bump him a little bit, and you get by him, he bumps you back. And it's just a totally different driving style, a totally different kind of racing. And it's a very fine line between winning and losing on the short track.
Darrell, it's time to start pumping. If you're going to get that lap back, the time has come.
I thought he just did. Waltrip in the 11, Earnhardt in the 3. Waltrip running a lap down in 6, trying to get the lap back right here.
Waltrip's car 11 looks a little bit better right now than it did a few laps ago. Evidently, Jeff Hammond, Junior Johnson's crew, has made some adjustments on that last pit stop because Darrell looks pretty good. There's Kyle Petty, car 7, Neil Bonnet, car 12.
Battle for 4th.
Battle for 4th continuing all day. These 2 cars have been battling.
Kyle Petty having a very good day. Stays up in that lead lap. Neil Bonnet right there in 5th. Bobby Hillen has pitted car number 8 another time. Hillen is on pit road. That is a good scramble. There you see the Hillen car.
Bobby Hillen has a problem. The car is extremely loose. He felt like he had a flat tire and didn't know which one it was. And I think the crew's a little confused as to what the problem is. There with Darrell Waltrip, car 11, pressuring Dale Earnhardt and Joe Rutland right behind him.
Nobody is getting a chance to build up anything here. You'd think that Earnhardt, after that tremendous, he'd build a third of a lap at one time. He's not getting that opportunity this time around. 167 laps complete. Back again with Kyle Petty, and there is Neil Bonnet just saying hello.
He is glued to the rear bumper of Kyle Petty's 711 Ford.
Scramble for 4th. Bodine getting up underneath. Jeff Bodine is moving in for a second position run as he gets beneath Joe Rutland.
And Neil Bonnet in car 12 got by Kyle Petty's 7, number 7 car.
Let's go to Jerry Garrett.
Well, Ken and Benny, in response to your question about Jeff Hammond's adjustment on that last Darrell Waltrip pit stop, Jeff says they did adjust the car. It's still bent on the left front wheel there, but they've compensated for it now. Jeff says this is as fast as any car on the track.
Bobby Allison and Lake Speed had a little mix-up going off turn 4. Both of them got the car righted back. That was a great run. Darrell Waltrip trying desperately to get his lap back. That's not for the lead, race fans. That is Darrell Waltrip. His second spot is in about 6th spot right now, a lap down to the 3-car Dale Earnhardt.
22 and 75 still. You can see Lake Speed wiggling a little loose as he comes out. Bobby Allison in the 22 car in the 7th spot. Lake Speed is running some positions back, not in the top 15 at the present time. Back in front, Earnhardt seems to be at optimum speed, and he can't draw away from Waltrip. And the major story is that number 3 is closing ground. Here he comes. Number 5 is closing ground. There you see him. The number 5 car of Bodine is definitely back in the picture here.
He is back in the picture. Darrell Waltrip right now looks to have the quickest car on the racetrack. But being faster and passing at Richmond is entirely two different things. What Darrell has got to do, I think, right now is get the 3-car. Dale Earnhardt hung up in some traffic, get him behind a slower car and pass him there.
Mike Waltrip not willing to help his brother. The last 108 laps have been led by car number 5.
Car number 3, Dale
Earnhardt. And we're watching number 5 here. Number 3, Earnhardt, has been pulling off those laps and dominating. He gets 5 points for every lap he's out in front. And the Goodies Headache Award, I would add to that list we had earlier, the Harry Gant story, and of course Ricky Rudd for the hard luck of the day.
I guarantee you, those Bill Elliott, Harry Gant, Ricky Rudd, all 3 of them, serious contenders for the Winston Cup crown, out completely.
Well, I wouldn't count. I mean, Elliott has the opportunity to come out here and run for points now, and those other 2 guys don't. That's the hard news. Bodine in the number 5 car in second place, and notice that the Waltrip car has fallen back into the clutches of car number 26. Joe Ruttman, new team, the Kenny Bernstein team, and they had a onboard camera for us today, but that car got wrapped early and torn up. Apparently our camera coverage out of that machine's gone away, and of course Harry's car had a real problem a little earlier. We showed you some of that footage from inside his camera, from inside of his car with the camera on. We're getting down to the halfway point, and shortly we're going to review some of those incidents, if you're just joining us, that happened right at the outset of this Richmond 400 today. As matters stand, 185 laps are complete. Earnhardt in this number 3 car is leading. Bodine in the number 4 is in second. And the Chevrolets are running 1-2. Then Joe Ruttman is in third. Neil Bonnet is in fourth. Kyle Petty's Ford is in fifth. Rusty Wallace in sixth. And Waltrip is a lap down in seventh.
Dale Earnhardt, it looks like the farther we go, the hotter the tires get, the more dominant that the 3-car Dale Earnhardt is. Right now, he seems to have everything going his way. Jeff Bodine is in second spot. He got by Darrell Waltrip, but he cannot gain on Earnhardt. Earnhardt just simply driving away. There's the 43 car of Richard Petty, and I don't know if Richard's in the car or someone else relieved for him.
Perhaps Chris can tell us. Chris?
Dale, Richard's still in the car, right? Richard's still in the car?
I didn't understand you.
Richard is still at the wheel, right?
That's right.
What does he say? How does he feel, and how's the car?
The car's tore up pretty bad. The toe end knocked off. The caster's knocked out of it. And he hurt his shoulder some when he hit the wall down there.
Okay, it's hard to hear down here. And the car and the driver are both ailing in the number 43 pit. Back to you, Ken.
And he's re-injured himself from last week in that terrible crash he had in turn number 2 at Daytona, but he soldiers on. Talk about champions. Take a look at 43.
You know, he's hurting. I'm feeling good, and I'm up here watching this thing, and he's down there struggling away. Doesn't seem right.
About to be overlapped by the leader. Here's Earnhardt coming in another time.
There was a lot of question about Richard Petty's starting status in this race. It's important to note that that man right there who's just being overlapped by the leader, and Richard wisely moves over and lets Earnhardt go. He's got nothing to prove. Richard Petty has already proved his point here today. He is making his 428th consecutive Winston Cup start here today after dislocating his shoulder just a week ago Sunday down at Daytona.
He'll have his 1,000th race this summer. We thought we had it all dialed in as to win, but with that injury, I would wonder about what comes next for him with Rockingham on the agenda. That's as tough a track as there is.
Rockingham is a tough racetrack, and it's next weekend, so he's not going to have a lot of time to let the shoulder heal before next weekend.
All right, we're 8 laps away from halfway, and let's follow the field here through to the halfway mark, and then we'll review for you some of the incidents that have happened in the first half of the race. We're going to be 7 laps away as Earnhardt comes around this time. Lapping again the Mike Waltrip car, moving up on Tim Richmond's car, part of that 2-car team that Hendrick has put together. Harry Hyde now crewing, crew chief for Tim Richmond car, and the number 3 is closing in on him now. Getting down to the halfway point in the race, and we'll know then. We'll begin to have a feeling about which ones are going to sustain themselves, and I just have a feeling that we're going to have a battle right to the finish between the 3-car and the 5-car this afternoon.
Lake Speed going in turn 3, got up high, hit the wall, did some damage to the right front of the automobile, but he kept going. I don't know if he's going to come in the pits or not, but he should, because there's some pretty serious damage to the right front of the automobile. We can see him as he comes off turn 4. See the tire smoke? Oh, that's problems. He better get in the pits pretty quickly.
Jerry?
Yeah, we saw something interesting that Dale Earnhardt just did strategically. He slowed down a little bit after that last set of pit stops that made the people behind him think that he was easy prey, so they expended their tires trying to get around him. When he was sure he had their tires good and hot, he drove away. And that's why he's managed to stretch out the lead right now.
Onto pit road comes Lake Speed, the Mississippi driver. Nationwide's car comes in, badly beaten up in the front. He really gave it an effort here today, but he's falling further back on the field. Meanwhile, we come to 198 laps complete, this time by on the leader, Dale Earnhardt. There you see him putting a lap on Dave Marcus, the 2-time winner of this race, or trying to. Ellis directly in front of him.
The groove is still on the bottom of the racetrack. It hasn't moved out a great deal. We can see Earnhardt trying to pass Dave Marcus on the outside. He's having a problem doing that.
And the guy in second place is just 0.8 of a second behind. Now, look at Marcus pull right back up on the number 3, and look at that yellow, white, and brown car. The number 5 from Hendrick Racing Stables right there, closing some more to within a couple of car lengths now. Jeff Bodine on his way. Halfway on the field this time. 200 down and 200 to go at Richmond at the Fairgrounds. 203 laps have now been completed here at Richmond, Virginia, and we are under caution for the 6th time today when Ken Schrader ricocheted off the wall in turn 4, slid about 100 feet and came to a stop. Car is being picked up right now. We're past the halfway point in the race. All the leaders are taking this opportunity to come on pit road. Let's review some of the things that have happened earlier to us here today in our live coverage of the Richmond 400. Early in the going, and it didn't take long before the first 10 laps were over. They were spinning and crashing.
That was Trevor Boyce and Kirk Bryant in car 2 making contact going down in turn 1. Just simply got together.
Buddy Arrington
spinning down on the I don't know who that was, spinning on the inside. Now here's the big wreck of the day. This is Ron Bouchard, Bill Elliott sitting on top of the guardrail. Darrell Waltrip has spun up here. He gets the car going again, loses a lap. And behind Bill Elliott's car, on the right of Bill Elliott's car, Ricky Rudd, Harry Gant, Phil Parsons to have some serious damage to their automobile.
Cars eliminated on the Ricky Rudd car, the Harry Gant car, the Phil Parsons car taken out of there. And then just a few moments ago, we had this incident Kirk
Well,
Bryant.
that's the second caution flag of the day. That was between Ricky Rudd and the 75 car off Lake Speed. And what a day for Ricky. What a day Ricky Rudd had, because he later went on to be involved in the accident in turn 3.
It is a packed house. Cold enough to snow, but it hasn't stopped anyone from coming out here at Richmond today to see this 400.
As a matter of fact, they did call for snow last night. The weatherman said it would probably snow last night. Fortunately, he was wrong.
Heavy rains yesterday knocked out the 200-lap late model stock car event they were going to have here. Featured those Mid-Atlantic race cars. And they didn't get an opportunity for any qualifying at all, so they had to go back to the system that they use, as they did in Michigan a year ago, where the top 18 were lined up by points, 19th and 20th positions by the races won last year, and then the rest by postmark. And there was one provisional starter on the back, James Hilton's car number 48, which had been scheduled for Ron Esau. He had crashed hard in practice, and this morning Eddie Bierswell took over in that car.
As we watched the cars coming off turn 4, I was looking down at the front straightaway, and several people trying to beat the crowd out here from the infield was running across the racetrack. Ricky Rudd and his wife was one of them, or two of them, and I thought to myself, the day that Ricky Rudd's having, I would be very careful how he might get run over trying to get across.
Harry Gant just walked across the racetrack. He's headed out early today too. The guy they may have to contend with for that championship is right off the front bumper of car number 5. It's number 3 as we get set on a restart. And our live coverage here on the Superstation today, Dale Earnhardt is leading. Jeff Bodine is in second. Kyle Petty is in third. Joe Ruttman in fourth. Neil Bonnet in fifth. Rusty Wallace in sixth, all in the lead lap as they scramble back into action. Waltrip on the inside. Remember, he is a lap down in 7th place. And he's getting left by Bodine, trying to deal with Bobby Hillen right now.
Jeff Bodine passed Darrell Waltrip down in turn 1 and 2 on the outside. Maybe a sign of things to come.
Snarling away from the field goes the number 3 car. 44 Labonte way off the pace, slow in the main straightaway. Terry Labonte's Oldsmobile is going back behind the wall and is retiring. Number 44 is out of the race. The leader continues to be number 3. Earnhardt is in front. Bodine is in second. 6th car makes the interval between 1 and 2. There's Terry Labonte's car back to the garage area. There you see it in the back straightaway now. Remember the number 11 car, Darrell Waltrip, third for the 3rd time in a row at Daytona. He looks to be 3rd here, but he's actually 1 lap down. Well, we could have another Daytona finish, the kind of thing we anticipated last week, maybe getting ready to happen here. We have 212 laps complete. Earnhardt in front, Bodine in second, and they both used up a lot of sheet metal in their days growing up, getting ready for Winston Cup racing.
They both were born and bred on this type of racetrack, so if anybody can do it, these two can. Darrell Waltrip grew up on this type of racetrack. Nashville, Tennessee, his home track for many, many years. Won several track championships, several victories over in Nashville. He's another contender that can beat and bang with the best of them.
Here in Virginia, where they drew the very best of the short track racers for years, Johnny Robertson, Hendrick. Bodine goes right up in there as far as short track wins in the Northeast. In the old days, when they brought the North and the South together in Trenton, New Jersey to see Hendrick run, was really an experience. Now there's your battle for 4th. That is Ruttman, and closing up on him is Neil Bonnet. Number 26, the green and white car, is Joe Ruttman out of Upland, California, the new Kenny Bernstein team. The Quaker State car that had our onboard camera, and it got nailed, as you can see, from the side of that car. They've changed the dimensions of that by 3 or 4 inches on the right. He's trying to fend off Neil Bonnet at number 12. He crashed so hard here and broke his neck a year ago coming out of turn 2 when he went right through the wall.
Bobby Hillen in the car 8, the Miller Buick. A great run in Daytona last week. And having a good run here today. He lets Joe Ruttman go by on the inside. Now Bonnet has the opportunity to try to pass it. But Hillen drives away from him a couple of car lengths.
Let's talk a little further back here, Benny. 7th position is the 11 car, a lap down. 8th position is Bobby Allison. And then in the 9th position is Hillen. Gary Garrett?
Well,
Ken, the problem with Terry Labonte, the car just stopped all of a sudden. Terry thought the engine was blown, came in, was getting out of the car. The crew found out that a piece of metal had gone down and grounded out the ignition. They tore off that piece of metal, pushed the car back on, and he's back on the track.
Thank you, Jerry. There you see the 44 coming back out. Going on what happened to Terry Labonte. The 10th position is a surprise here. It's car number 95. And that is Davey Allison having a very good day. Jimmy Means is running in 11th position, averaging 65.8 miles an hour. The leader, number 3, Earnhardt, cannot get away from car number 5, Jeff Bodine, who stays right there, lurking, waiting, perched on the rear bumper.
And here in Richmond, the battle is between a couple of Chevys. It is Dale Earnhardt's number 3 leading the race, and Jeff Bodine in second. But in the Hard Charger Award standings from True Value Hardware, they're still the other way around. Bodine is leading. That's largely on the basis of the early running. When he took off from the pole and led the race, Earnhardt had to work his way up through traffic. Earnhardt has led over 100 laps now later in the race and appears to be dominant right now, but Bodine still has just a little bit of advantage in terms of points toward that True Value Hard Charger Award. Which weapon's going to win it? Well, that depends on the outcome of the battle we've been watching for the last several laps as number 3 Earnhardt, the defending champion in this race, continues to hang on, and Bodine, who is running second and just about 5 or 6 car lengths back, moves up for an occasional foray, a challenge at the leader. Right on their rear bumper, specifically behind Bodine, we have Darrell Waltrip running 7th and a lap behind.
Those points are 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 per lap.
Per lap. It's going to take a mathematician to figure out exactly who does win this thing. There we see Kyle Petty, car 7, Terry Labonte, who just entered the race again, car 44, and 26, Joe Ruttman.
Well, Joe Ruttman on the brand new team, now running in fourth after getting slammed earlier out here, and it's been full contact stock car racing today.
Last week, Joe Ruttman tore his car up pretty badly at Daytona. I saw Kenny Bernstein, the drag racer who has formed it, who has gone in with Bobby Hawkins to make this team, King Racing or whatever it's called. I told Kenny, welcome to circle drag racing, because that's the price you pay when you make a mistake at Daytona. Jump the car.
I didn't. You know, Neil Bonnet had a wheel brake on him, and that's what set all that up. And I thought Ruttman had to be injured in that terrible crash. He said he came out of that just fine. He said, but you talked to me about Rockingham, and I'll tell you what hurt is.
What a great run Joe Ruttman's had today. I'm sure that I saw Kenny earlier on. I'm sure that he, Bobby Hawkins, and all those people are just ecstatic with the way the day is going.
4th overall. Maintaining 5th is Bonnet, 6th is Rollins, 7th is Waltrip a lap down, followed by Allison, then Helen 9th, Davey Allison running at 10th, top 10. And that number 44 car, as reported, has pitted and come back out another time. He was in for a lengthy spell, the number 44. Terry Garrett giving us that report as to exactly what happened to it. Meanwhile, up in front, the 3 and the 5 are having their own little story here this afternoon, and I think it's developing a little bit like Daytona, where neither of them are really willing to show everybody what they've got at the present time. There's Kyle Petty's car number 7. Kyle is running in 3rd in the race. That's a great run for the Wood brothers.
Kyle seems to be driving away from Ruttman. Just seems like he's gained a few car lengths, although the Labonte car is between he and Joe Ruttman. Maybe Joe is having a little problems getting by Terry.
Well, let's find out what kind of problems that car sustained when it got slammed a little earlier. Chris is in their pits.
I'm with Larry McReynolds, Joe Ruttman's crew chief. What kind of shape is the car?
Well, we got a lot of sheet metal damage, and that's about it. I'm just trying to stay after it about taking care of the car, taking care of the brakes, and maybe we can come home with a good finish.
What is Joe telling you?
The car feels pretty good. I mean, we hadn't made a lot of changes to it because it stayed that way pretty much all day. We changed the tire stagger just a little bit, but other than that, he said it feels pretty good.
Thank you very much. Here you have it from Joe Ruttman's crew chief, Larry McReynolds. Thank you.
Larry McReynolds with a brand new team, and he's doing a beautiful job of that organization. Joe Ruttman suffered a real heartbreaker here in '82. He spun up here on this 4th turn. He was leading about 245 laps into the event. And 1 lap later, it started raining, and then the race was flagged to a halt, and he wound up today 15th.
Here at Richmond Fairgrounds Speedway in Richmond, Virginia, we're watching Dale Earnhardt dominate in the Richmond 400. I would not presume to speak for the likes of Ken Squire, Benny Parsons, Chris Economaki, Jerry Garrett, our panel of experts gathered here to cover this race. But later today, when we vote for the champion spark plug racer of the day from Richmond, this guy has got to be in the running. Earnhardt, for want of a cup of gas, missed a victory in the Daytona 500, or at least a potential victory here today. He's come back. He's met his Daytona 500 rival, Jeff Bodine, and thus far, he's run Bodine into the ground. Earnhardt, thus far, has the inside track. We've got 150 laps to go, and to call that action, let's go back topside to Cab.
Dale Earnhardt stays in front with his car number 3. Bodine seems to settle back and just wait. Some 12 car lengths behind the leader at the present time. Kyle Petty is having a great run in 3rd. Joe Ruttman in 4th. Neil Bonnet is in 5th. But if I were to vote for a racer of the day in this event for champion spark plug, I think one of my leading candidates would be Rusty Wallace. He has been smacked and hit, but car number 27 has stayed with it, and he has stayed somehow in the lead lap. And every bit of luck he's had on the track has been a little unfortunate. His car is badly thrashed, but he stays out here and keeps running. Now, he's made 2 previous runs in this racetrack, and both times the track has been very unkind. He was 16th in '84, and last year after an accident was credited with 27. Today he stays in the lead lap for the Blue Max Racing Team. There you see it, Rusty Wallace in 6th position. There's still a long way to go, and as dinged up as that car is, that guy can still be around at the finish, and anybody who's ever seen him in the ASA will tell you he's as good as they come. Darrell Waltrip says this is the next superstar.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised. And, you know, we look at all the damage on these automobiles, and Joe Ruttman's car is living proof that the exterior damage that we see is purely superficial. It's what's on the inside that really, truly counts as to how that car goes around this racetrack.
And when you talk about what's on the inside, you talk about heart, and no one has more of it than that man at number 3. Dale Earnhardt out in front, and he just does not quit. And he was so gracious last week after he lost. He laughed off that $200,000 lap. He said, well, that's racing, and was able to walk away from it.
But, Ken, he's laughing on the outside, but believe me, he's crying on the inside.
Still got a lot of style. Earnhardt out in front. Bodine maintaining 2nd, and they're willing to sit on it for the moment. But now Bodine has cut the advantage to about 10 car lengths. He's moved up a little here in the last 4 or 5 laps. There you see Earnhardt. Won this race last year. He has a great finishing record on this track. Isn't it funny how you see the guard change? Here is Bodine running in 2nd place. Jeff Bodine in 2nd. Jeff says that he tries to control his temper when he's driving out there.
I try to control myself on the racetrack as well as off. You know, we've got a pretty dangerous weapon that we're sitting in, and we can use it as a weapon if we wanted to, if we choose to, but that isn't what it was intended for. It's intended to go out there and run around this oval and as many times as we can make it, and faster than anyone else, and get across that line before the other guy, and that's what I try to use it for. And sometimes it gets pretty tough to control your emotions on the speedway, and we do shake a fist now and then at our competitors, but that race car was meant to race, not to crash into people. We try to do that with it.
Jeff Bodine crashed a lot of cars and raced hard for Dick Armstrong for years up in the Northeast in the modified ranks, and here he is leading in the Winston Cup ranks this afternoon. We were mentioning earlier the style of this guy. He had a commitment last Sunday night. His commitment was to make an appearance and sign some autographs, and so he just won the biggest stock car race there is to win. You can find him at a department store from 8:30 to 10 signing autographs after the race, and then after that he went down to a fast food place and had a hamburger with his wife and went to bed. That's how he celebrated the biggest win there is in stock car racing. Here's Chris.
Okay, Junior Johnson, the only team manager who does not work from his pit, but finds a vantage point high in the infield where he can see the whole track. His headset can talk to either driver, Darrell Waltrip or Neil Bonnet. Junior Johnson does it differently. Back to you, Ken.
Yes, indeed he does, and there's his man, number 11, Waltrip, the lap down in 7th, and his other car running in 5th in the lead lap, Neil Bonnet. Waltrip has not been able to make up the difference, and that snout, that SS nose on the Monte Carlo, looking sadly abused.
Darrell Waltrip doesn't have anything today for Dale Earnhardt or Jeff Bodine. You know, as we were talking and as Chris made his report from down in the pits, I was looking at the car 5, the Levi Garrett Chevrolet of Jeff Bodine's. As it went by, there's not a mark that I can see on that car. We talk about how tough the Bodine is, what a hard driver he is, but I cannot find a mark on the car anyplace.
The number 3 car has stayed out in front and mostly out of trouble all day. We were talking about this number 5 and how he met his commitments after the race. You know what Gary Nelson did to celebrate his victory? He drove home. Got home at 3 o'clock in the morning, got up at 8, went to work on the Richmond car. Well, life in the fast lane.
Life in the fast lane. So, folks, this business is not as glamorous as you would think it would be. I drove home myself. I left Daytona about 5 o'clock, got home to Albany about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Under caution, 275 of the 400 laps are now complete, and the battle is still enjoined right up front between Dale Earnhardt at number 3 and Jeff Bodine. Bodine had closed all the way up. I think we're about a lap away from a restart here, and when we do, it'll be Bodine versus Earnhardt another time.
Jerry Garrett has a report from the pits.
Okay, we're right here with Gary Nelson, Jeff Bodine's crew chief. This is a stretch run, Gary. What are you going to do to get ahead of Earnhardt?
Well, I'll tell you, he's a tough customer. Jeff said it looked like Dale was running pretty hard. We seem to have a little bit left. I don't know if we've got enough to beat him, but we're going to give him a heck of a run here at the end.
You can go the distance now if you have to, right?
I think so. We haven't got the figures back yet, but I'm pretty sure we can go the distance. Obviously, if we get a caution, we'll stop and get some fresh tires, make some adjustments, and we're going to do our best to beat old Dale.
All right, the question might be fuel economy here as we were listening to that talk with Gary Nelson.
That's no problem. There's only 125 laps to go, so fuel is no problem. But tires may be a problem, and I suppose that's what Gary Nelson is talking about. Does he have enough tires to go the distance?
Down into turn number 1. Earnhardt draws away quickly, tries to put a lap back on Waltrip. Waltrip nails him in the door and stays with him. Into the back straightaway, he hits him again.
This is Darrell's best opportunity to get. Oh, he cannot make it. Earnhardt drives down in turn 3 real hard.
Here comes Waltrip on the inside, Benny. Not through. Ooh.
Darrell almost lost it coming off turn 4. Car 11 almost spun coming off turn 4. Now Jeff Bodine has to get by the 11 car. Jeff Bodine at 5 has to get by 11.
As we watch this battle, keep in mind that Darrell Waltrip was involved in one of those earlier crashes, smashed up the front end of the car. It doesn't look bad, but they did damage the front end alignment on the car. Benny Parsons, it looks to me like Darrell's not able to do the kind of things that he'd like to do with a race car. He wants to drive underneath Earnhardt, and he just can't make the car stick, perhaps because of that earlier crash.
Darrell Waltrip seems to be okay on green tires when the tires are cold, but when they get hot, it looks like that both Dale Earnhardt in the 3 car and Bodine in the 5 have an advantage over, and that usually is an indication that he has some chassis problems. Here, with cold tires, Darrell Waltrip in 11 trying one more time to get underneath Dale Earnhardt's car number 3 coming off the second corner. Couldn't make it.
That's the battle right there. Earnhardt seems to be able to stick and stay with him. Gets down into turn number 1. Let's see if he can get back underneath him another time. He's got to do it here. You got about, what, 6 laps, Benny, on those tires?
About 6-10 laps. That's all he's going to get. And Dale Earnhardt in the car 3, he cannot use his tires up, get them extremely hot, trying to keep Darrell Waltrip behind him, because if he does, Bodine, when he gets there, will simply drive by.
Taking another stab on the inside. Waltrip taking his best shot right here. The car is working, but he can't pull around the number 3 car, the Richard Childress prepared car. Now you see number 26, Ruttman car, right there, running in 3rd position now as Ruttman. Kyle Petty is 4th. Darrell Waltrip, what do you have to do to the car to keep it competitive the whole race here at Richmond?
Well, we get a pretty good feel for that early on. Tire stagger, something we can adjust during the race, relatively easy. You'll see Junior go inside the car periodically and adjust the weight of the car, the wedge of the car. And we anticipate that happening as we go along. We know at halfway we want to put a couple more rounds of bite in the car, and right near the end we might put a couple more in yet, or we might want to tighten the stagger up. we just kind of know from experience about what and about when we need to do things to keep the car going the way we want it to.
Darrell Waltrip in number 11, running in 6th position. He has kept that car until now, but now's the time to use it up. He goes to the inside in turn number 2, trying to get any kind of an advantage to move beneath Dale Earnhardt in number 3. Meanwhile, the second-place man, Bodine, just sits there and waits and watches.
He's sitting there like a vulture, just wanting Earnhardt to use that car up, get his tires so hot that he can't stick to the racetrack, and it's going to be very easy for him. Bodine, he's in no hurry. He's got 100 laps, over 100 laps to get by.
286 complete. Joe Ruttman 3rd, Kyle Petty 4th, Neil Bonnet 5th, Darrell Waltrip 6th, Bobby Allison in 7th, Rusty Wallace in 8th, Bobby Hillin in 9th, Dave Marcus is 10th, Jimmy Means 11th, Davey Allison having a great day in 12th.
Earnhardt just letting the car go up the racetrack. Car 3, the thing is getting up the racetrack a little bit higher than I think Dale would like for it to.
How about it, Dale Earnhardt? You have to trade sheet metal here at Richmond, Virginia?
Well, hopefully it don't come down to that, but you know, if you have to, you know, the racing is real close up here. It's a real tight racetrack, and once in a while you'll get against somebody, they'll get against you, but you know, that's more or less racing here.
They may get together right anytime the next couple of laps. Like how about right now? Earnhardt on the outside, Waltrip in the number 11 on the inside. And here comes Bodine. He sees the advantage. The hole is opened up on the inside. Jeff Bodine wants to stick his nose in there. They have Earnhardt pinned.
They've got him. Earnhardt's going to jump down the hill. Is he going to be able to do it? He and Bodine get together. They're rubbing sheet metal off turn 4. Bang!
Earnhardt pulls out of that one still in first.
You know what I said about no marks on the 5 car? Forget all that, because the whole right side is black now.
You're watching it live on the Superstation. Earnhardt stays in first. Waltrip has made up his lap. A caution now with 290 complete. He'd be around. Packed house on a nice, cold, brisk day here in Richmond, Virginia. Watching Earnhardt and Bodine go at it to win it all.
I think a couple of things happened there. We saw Darrell Waltrip get his lap back, but we also saw some measure of the determination that Dale Earnhardt has when it comes to a race with Jeff Bodine. Those two bumped and battered just like that all the way down the backstretch at Daytona in the Busch Clash. They hammered on each other through the 125 qualifier down at Daytona. They were beating on each other again in the Goodies 300. And when it came down to the Daytona 500, Earnhardt felt like he had a little score to settle, and he ended up losing the race because he ran out of gas. Here in Richmond, you know Dale Earnhardt is not going to let Bodine drive by him.
And Joe Ruttman is right on the back bumper of the 5 car. Joe Ruttman, car 26, right on the back bumper of Bodine.
Excellent race for a half-mile track. 293 laps are complete, edging in on the final quarter.
I'm here with Richard Childress, the crew chief for the car owner for Dale Earnhardt. Dale, your last scheduled pit stop has been made. The car doesn't seem to be working as well as it was. If you have to stop again, what will you do to it?
We might make a little chassis adjustment. We hadn't touched the chassis yet because the track seems to keep changing a little. We didn't want to do anything right yet. If we have another stop, we might make a little adjustment, but he's back running about as fast. Darrell just got going a little better right now.
What does Dale say about the car?
He says it's good right there.
Okay, thank you very much, Richard. And now down pit road to my colleague, Jerry Garrett.
Well, we're down here with Gary Nelson right now. And Gary, what is Jeff saying about the car? He seems to close up on Earnhardt and then drift back a little bit.
Well, we're still adjusting on the car. We go a little bit overboard each way. We had it a little too tight a little bit ago. Now it's a little bit loose. It looks like everybody's doing that. Darrell Waltrip looks like he found a little better combination. Maybe he's going to get his lap back, but he's going to be one to race at the end. And I think if we can hit our combination just right, we'll be competitive for the win also.
What are you most worried about right now? If you get a caution, would you be most worried about Waltrip, or who do you think's the fastest car in the track? Joe Ruttman was up in there for a little bit.
Definitely Dale Earnhardt. He's led almost the whole race. Darrell Waltrip and then us are the three main ones for the win, and it's going to be a heck of a finish.
Earnhardt versus Bodine here. Following this event, the Richmond 400 this afternoon, a 1-hour special here on the Superstation. Major track and field meet. Among track stars appearing will be Carl Lewis, Evelyn Ashford, and the world record holder in the pole vault. That's all coming along. Billy Olson later today here on the Superstation, following our live flag-to-flag coverage of this Richmond 400. $321,000 at stake. Everybody staying here, packed house, to see if it will be Bodine or if it will be the man leading right now, number 3, Earnhardt, or if Joe Ruttman, if these two should get together, will sit there in the catbird seat and take it all.
Chris Economack and Jerry Garrett both talked about what is the driver saying to the crew chief. For the fans back home that don't realize, all these cars have two-way communication between the car and crew chief. The driver can talk to the crew chief at any time he wants to. In all the caution flag periods, there is conversation that goes on continually between the driver and the crew chief as to what the car is doing. There we see a radio on Dan Elliott's head. That is the communication between the car and the pits. And
Ernie Elliott not here today. Dan Elliott is here. Ernie is home building on engines for Rockingham and Atlanta. There you see Lake Speed car putting up smoldering as it comes in now. No caution out. He's on to pit road. Looks like that right front may be down on car number 75. Indeed it is. Lake Speed. Nationwide's car really having a hard day.
He has had a tough day. I don't know if it's just the tire blew and it knocks more debris off the fender, or if he got into the fence. I would say that the tire just probably blew, and some of the stuff, some of the excessive sheet metal fell down on top of the tire.
We were talking about Bill Elliott, watching Dan Elliott a moment ago. Bill Elliott in car number 9 is not in the top 20 at the present time. The car number 9 was in a wreck early today, if you're just joining us, and he is running about 40 laps down from the leaders, is the report. You're watching car 75, repairs going on Lake Speed's car, and the Elliott number 9 is well off the pace, but he's still out here, still trying to collect points and stay in that hunt for $2 million in points this year.
I tell you, as long as those cars will move, these drivers will be on the racetrack, particularly this early in the season, because who knows what 1986 is going to hold. Bill Earnhardt, Jeff Bodine, they look like they have things going their way right now, but it does change.
Look at those 3 cars right there. There is the number 9 car directly in front of him. You saw the 98 and the number 10 brakes. These all look like Saturday night specials out of a hobby class, a cadet class. They have really ripped and beat each other up. But with better than $250,000 here in that tremendous point fund, I think this is indicative of what will be seen on all the short track races. Use them up. That's what they're here for.
As long as the car will roll, they'll be on the racetrack, because sheet metal to these cars means very little, particularly on a racetrack like Richmond.
Reviewing again as we stand with now 314 laps complete. Earnhardt first, Bodine second, Joe Ruttman in third, Kyle Petty fourth, Neil Bonnet in fifth. All of that lead lap with Darrell Waltrip in that lap as well now. Then running in seventh, Bobby Allison. Rusty Wallace is in eighth. Bobby Hillen is in ninth. In 10th is Dave Marcus. Running 11th, Jimmy Means. 12th is Davey Allison. 13th is J.D. McDuffie. 14th is Doug Heveron. 15th is Arrington. 16th had been Speed. He'll fall back, and Mike Waltrip will move up into that 16th spot.
Let's go down to the STP Pit Center and Dave Despain.
An important point that we need to make right now, I think, is that these drivers have all had their last scheduled pit stop. If we have a yellow flag, they can get some new tires or a handling adjustment. But barring a yellow, they've got all they're going to get. That's a problem for Joe Ruttman, because he needs new tires. Ruttman is third. His tires aren't working. The new ones are lined up by the wall ready to go, but he needs a yellow flag in order to put them on. Now let's talk a little bit about hard luck here today. The Goodies Headache Award that's voted by the news media here at Richmond. Candidates, you've got to add Darrell Waltrip. That's one of the 3 fastest cars on the racetrack. Waltrip got a lap down early. He's just now been able to get that lap back and may still win the race, but he's battled all day because of one little ding up earlier. Lake Speed is a candidate because he has hit or been hit by everybody out there, and including the fences on all 4 ends of this place. And Ricky Rudd, a defending champion in the crowd favorite, knocked out by an early crash.
8th caution of the day, and it's for Rusty Wallace, who slid off the track with Neil Bonnet. And here you see Rusty Wallace still stuck in the mud after all that rain yesterday. And here comes the 12 car of Bonnet. badly wrapped up in the nose. Those slicks just don't stick in the mud at all. Let's take a look at what happened here. Turn 2. Neil's car was up in the fence and taking evasive action down to the inside. The 27 car landed in the creek. So Rusty Wallace has gone down several laps. The 12 car, which is running in that lead lap and had been running well all day, now falling off the pace. But the major story from another angle, you see it now, is that Waltrip has made up that lap, and he'll be right in there behind the leaders.
Exactly right. Darrell Waltrip made the lap up. He's in the same lap. He'll be right behind. He'll probably be about 5th or 6th spot right behind the other front runners.
I think we ought to talk to
Dale Earnhardt, Kyle Petty, and Joe Rutten.
I think we ought to talk to Goodies about how we're going to split that award, because that luck for Rusty Wallace after the run he had for Raymond Beadle, the Barry Dotson car today, that's just unfortunate. And Ricky Rudd is primary in my thoughts. He had such aspirations for today, and their car was destroyed up here earlier, as you saw on our live coverage today from Richmond, Virginia, the broadcast of this $321,000 400-lap event, in which we are now 323 laps deep. You see Lake Speed's car still being worked on. Nice guy and a great team, and the dice just aren't falling the right way for him these days.
Certainly are. He had a couple problems in Daytona last week. Spun in the accident that Neil Bonnet and Joe Ruttman, Harry Gann, Cale Yarborough, all those fellows were involved in when Bonnet's tire blew going into turn 3. Lake trying to miss some of them, spun, and then later on made a pit stop, and Rusty Wallace came down pit road running, looked like 200 miles an hour. He is hot.
We are back live at Richmond's Fairgrounds Raceway for the concluding laps of the Richmond 400. And in Darrell Waltrip pits right now. Jeff Hammond, you've been working all day to get your man back on the lead lap. Can he win the race now?
Well, you know, we were leading the leaders just a minute ago, so we feel pretty good. And Darrell's talking to me right now. We're just trying to get a few things squared away so that we got about 75 laps to go. So we're in the best position we've been in all day since they dropped the green flag, so we feel pretty good about it.
Okay, for a further report on strategy, let's go down pit road to Chris Economaki.
Well, Dale Earnhardt's strategy is one of running close. This is the left front tire they just took off of his car. Notice the paint, it's white. Now, here's the left rear tire they just took off of Dale Earnhardt's car. A different color paint, which means a different car he was up against. Dale Earnhardt likes the street fight, and it may win the race for him today. Back to you, Ken.
The white came from number 11, Waltrip, and the yellow, of course, was contribution of Jeff Bodine to the overall paint scheme of this gentleman who is now running in second place. Rusty Wallace seems to be losing gas. He's been out here for 3 or 4 laps, and as he goes to the corner, you can still see it trickle out, and I don't believe that's the feeder pipe.
I don't know really what the problem is. NASCAR has been black flagging him. He's been going in the pits. Those fellows have been working on the problem. But you're right. I don't think they've cured it yet.
Car number 27 is now 5 laps down. There you see Rusty Wallace back in again after he got stuck in the mud. He was waving for anyone to come and help him over there as he laid there, and the photographers were taking pictures and having a grand day in the sun. And between Neil Bonnet and the photographers, this has not been Wallace's happiest moment.
Oh, he was getting frantic there.
Oh, he really wanted some help.
He wanted some help, and they all were taking his picture.
Neil Bonnet is back on the track. Remember, as we get set for a start, Ruttman will be your leader. And then after Ruttman comes Earnhardt in second, Bodine in third, Kyle Petty lies fourth, Waltrip in fifth, Neil Bonnet still shown in the lead lap in sixth. But his car has been savaged, and I don't think that he is going to be one to really figure as a contender. Those other guys all are in it.
They are in it, and they are really in it. Kyle Petty, great run for Kyle today. Joe Ruttman leading the race right now.
Okay on gas is the report from NASCAR. They've made the repairs on car number 27 and put Rusty Wallace back out here. Look at Joe Ruttman trying to get some heat in the tires, that green and white, number 26. They get set. Here's the rest of the field organizing for a start.
He's also trying to wipe the debris, the small stones and pebbles that the tires collect. He's trying to wipe those things off and get the tires as clean as he can. He's on the throttle.
330 laps complete as they come by. Rusty Wallace now reported in 12th position as they hit the green. And Ruttman jumps out. You can see some of that tire debris on that speed shot as they come down through there. There is Joe Ruttman off that second turn, and he pulls away. How about it if Ruttman could put this one together? Joe Ruttman, with that new team, has about a 15-car length advantage. All of them have been freshly shod. Tires all the way around. Here's Ruttman down into turn number 1. Shadow's getting a little long as they come into turn number 2. Remember that car number 22, Bobby Allison, is a lap down.
It's a shame that that early accident took the camera away, the in-car camera from Joe Ruttman's car. Otherwise, we could see exactly what it's like to lead the Richmond 400 from Joe Ruttman's perspective.
Again, it's a little over 100 miles an hour on these straightaways. The straightaways are just 600 feet long. And you really, what do you do to go through one of these corners? Use up a lot of brake?
A lot of brake. Go down the straightaway right now. Joe Ruttman slams on the brakes down in turn 1. But you can't slam them on too hard. If you do, one end or the other may lock up. You got to be very careful with the brakes, but slow the car down, get in the middle of the turn, and if you can come off the throttle, off the corner, on the throttle all the way, you've got a good day going for you. Here, Darrell Waltrip alongside Jeff Bodine up in turn 4. This is for third spot.
On the inside, and he bangs the 44, tries to move him out. Waltrip, or rather the Bobby Hillen car, he moves the Hillen car out, and Waltrip goes down through. Darrell Waltrip on the move. He is now into third. Bodine is to fourth. Earnhardt in second, trying to close on Ruttman and the 26 out in front.
Joe Ruttman's got a new lease on life here. You remember we commented that just before that yellow flag, he was stuck out there with a bad set of tires. They brought him in. They put new rights on. He not only got the tires he wanted, but because he was able to get out of the pits earliest, he is now in front of Darrell Waltrip and also Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine. Waltrip may be the most fortunate man of the entire race, though he finally got that lap back and is in position to win this race. For more on the pit strategy, let's go to Jerry Garrett.
Well, Dave, the latest from Gary Nelson, Jeff Bodine's crew chief, is on that last pit stop, for the first time all day, they took bite out of the car. First time they laid a wrench on the car. Doesn't seem to have helped the handling. They're a little concerned.
Darrell Waltrip needs a break. He needs, when Dale Earnhardt gets to the 26 car, Joe Ruttman. We see Earnhardt, number 3, when he gets to Ruttman, he needs for Ruttman to hold Earnhardt up. Don't let him pass so easily. Let Darrell Waltrip catch up, because right now Waltrip has the quickest car on the racetrack.
2.5 seconds between Earnhardt in second, Waltrip in third, about a half second back to fourth spot, number 5, Bodine. There you see the leaders.
Joe Ruttman, I watched him coming off turn 4 just a couple of laps ago. He is driving his heart out. He's coming off that. We can see him sideways, using the steering wheel, using the throttle, anything he can to get every ounce of speed out of that Buick. But I don't think he's going to be able to hold that 3-car back. Dale Earnhardt's coming.
Benny, you just answered my question. I wanted to ask you. You seem so confident, so sure that Earnhardt was going to drive right up there with him. Is there any doubt in your mind that Earnhardt could go around the number 26 car of Joe Ruttman, or is Joe just out there hanging on?
I think that Dale Earnhardt can pass Joe Ruttman very easily. When he's not going to do it easily, because Joe Ruttman is leading this race. But Darrell Waltrip needs for Earnhardt to be held up for a couple of laps. If he can hold him up for a couple of laps, Darrell Waltrip could win this thing.
Back into turn number 1. Massive crowd watching as Earnhardt closes in. Earnhardt certainly, or whether Waltrip or Earnhardt certainly aren't candidates for that Goodies Award today, but if they bag Ruttman here, he would become a leading candidate. Here's Ruttman out in front. You've got to be so easy on the throttle. One thing you don't want here is tire spin as you come out of that number 2. You can waste it all right there if you're not really careful with 600 horsepower under your right foot.
And see, Ken's so true, because once you start spinning those tires, it compounds the problem. It gets worse and worse and worse. There, Earnhardt, he's there. He's on the back bumper of Ruttman.
He's within 2-car and a half length now as they go into turn number 1.
And there he's 6 feet, 3 feet.
And as they close up with the lead, Waltrip hopes they get into a real conflict, and it'll give them a chance to close it up. Kenny Bernstein has a chance to win a Grand National race in only his second start. 3-time World Drag Racing champion, but down to the inside. There's the move. And it's Earnhardt back underway and into the lead.
That's what Darrell Waltrip did not want. He wanted Rutman to hold Earnhardt up for 2 or 3 laps, give him time to get there, because we can see Darrell Waltrip's gaining. He's coming, but I don't know. Now he's got the job of getting by Joe Rutman.
And Rutman is closing up just a little, then he falls back. He came right back up in there, and also note that number 11 Waltrip is closing.
Waltrip is coming. He's the fastest car on the racetrack. But Dale Earnhardt right now, he's not going to use his tires up. I don't think he's going to get them hot. Save it for when it really matters, when Darrell Waltrip gets on his rear bumper.
Dale Earnhardt with 15 Grand National wins. First here a year ago, 6 in '84, second in '83. Very consistent with the past few years on this track. He may be able to put it together. Stitch 2 of them back-to-back at Richmond. One of the toughest tracks on this entire multi-million-dollar Winston Cup Series.
Just over 50 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt in car 3 has got his work cut out for him if he's going to keep Joe Rutman in 26 and Darrell Waltrip in 11, and particularly Darrell Waltrip in 11. He's coming.
There you see it, 10 leads changes among 8 drivers thus far in the event. There are now 348 laps complete, getting down to about 50 laps to go, a couple times by. Right behind Bodine, don't forget Kyle Petty. Still very much out here.
Waltrip got by Joe Rutman with ease. Now then, nothing between he and Dale Earnhardt but space.
Closing up out of 3. He just drove by him.
He just drove by him.
Ken Schrader, he was black flagged. They were beginning to lose the windshield in that car. The molding had come off. And car number 90, Judy Donlemmy's car, out of the Virginia area. And there you see him dropping to the bottom. And closing up comes Waltrip. Any way you spell it, this ought to be a very good finish here today at Richmond.
From the pits, we learned from the Waltrip camp that his car is handling very, very much better since they adjusted on the left rear at the last pit stop. I think that the pictures speak for themselves as he reels in the number 3 lead car of Dale Earnhardt, but we do have confirmation from the crew. Darrell says it's handling like a charm. My question to Benny Parsons is, when do you make the move? There's 50 laps left in this race. Does he try to get around Earnhardt quickly and pull away, or does he sit back there and wait sort of Daytona Super Speedway style for late in the race, put him away and win it?
He tries to get by Dale Earnhardt as quickly as he can, because all day it's shown that Earnhardt, once the tires get hot after 40 or 50 laps, seems to have the dominant car. Waltrip needs to do it right now while his tires are still cold.
What I'd like to know is what's happened to Bodine. He seems to be backing up. He has fallen back, whereas Waltrip just motored on through. That's not been the case with Bodine. He's falling back.
Waltrip's alongside. There's his teammate, Neil Bonnet, in front of him, but he can't make it. Jerry Garrett mentioned a moment ago that Gary Nelson adjusted on Jeff Bodine's car that last pit stop, and they probably should have left it alone.
Over-massaged it?
Yes, I think so.
354 laps complete this time. Waltrip there, ready to challenge, looking for his 68th win.
More on that Bodine story as we watch the battle for first and second. Remember, Jeff is a few seconds back in 3rd spot. They changed that car. That's a new car, and it's what they call a rear steer car. We won't get into the technicalities of that. It has to do with how the steering is configured. The point is that the car handles differently. Bodine came here from Daytona hoping to get in a lot of practice, figure out the car, figure out how it worked, and also, most importantly, figure out how to adjust on the car during the course of the race. Well, as luck would have it, they didn't get any practice, but they set the car up perfectly at the start. However, as the race has evolved, they haven't been able to keep that combination. And as Jeff told us yesterday on Motor Week, they were very concerned that the lack of practice was going to hamper them late in the race. Jeff, you're a great prognosticator. Here we are late in the race. He's gone from contention to the lead to a scramble to hang on to 3rd.
And he is scrambling because Kyle Petty in number 7 is closing up on this number 5. There you see Kyle. Couple of back markers in between them, but Kyle's on his way for the lead. Earnhardt first, looking for win 16, looking for win 68. Number 11 Waltrip, defending champion. He gets that inside shot. Not to be. Car 64 just in front of him as they whip it down the back straightaway to the outside.
2 of the greatest short track drivers we have in Winston Cup racing today. Dale Earnhardt cut his teeth on the late model sportsman series, and Darrell Waltrip also ran at Nashville, Tennessee for years and years. They've been in this situation hundreds of times, all in both positions, either first and second.
Earnhardt now having to drive defensive. And you saw what happened earlier when Waltrip was making up his lap, and he thumped on the back end of that number 3.
What happens when Earnhardt really tries to run like he has been running? The car is going up the hill. Dale Earnhardt's car is not handling as well as it was a couple hundred laps ago. But right now his only choice is to slow down, keep it on the bottom of the racetrack. The problem that Darrell Waltrip has right now is the 26 car of Joe Rudman and the 5 car of Jeff Bodine. They're gaining on it. We may have 4 cars battling for the lead in a moment.
40 laps to go. 40 remaining. Anxious crewmen along pit road watching this battle between a couple of the giants. The 1980 Grand National Champion, now Winston Cup champion Earnhardt, and the defending champion. Now they go into turn number 1. Rip Snorri, there's where you want to make your move into. Hello. I'm here. I just want to let you know, in case you're dozing, that I'm around.
If you haven't looked in the mirror lately, here I am. But believe me, Earnhardt had looked in the mirror lately. He knew exactly where Darrell Waltrip was.
Darrell Waltrip, what do you like about the Richmond Fairgrounds?
These kind of racetracks, I like the closeness of the competition. It's more of a driving affair here than it is at a super speedway, where aerodynamics and horsepower and slingshots and all those things come into effect. Here it's just pure and simply hard, aggressive driving that wins the race for you. You don't have to have the fastest car. Matter of fact, sometimes that hurts you.
You know, if he likes all that, he ought to be loving it right now.
He's been coming here since 1975. There he is on the inside. He's down there. Earnhardt cuts him off. Well, he used up a little corner panel that time. Dale is not afraid to move right down across the bow, is he?
He is not afraid to come down the hill.
Took a cannon shot right across the front and said, forget it. I'll go in there anyway. Here they come. Back to over 100 miles an hour on the straightaway. It's a dandy, and you're watching it live on the Superstation. Dale Earnhardt fighting Waltrip after he had to fend off Jeff Bodine earlier. Waltrip tries an inside shot. Tell me what it's like to come off that number 2 corner here, Benny Parsons.
Well, there's some bumps down on the bottom of the racetrack. We see Darrell Waltrip, when that shot behind him, we see it come off low. There's some bumps down there. And if you hit those bumps just right, the car almost leaps out from under you. So you have to be careful exiting that corner. But it's the only way Darrell Waltrip's going to be able to pass.
3-time Winston Cup champion Darrell Waltrip, 81, 82, 85. Has to run in second place right now. He just inches up, just touches that man in front of him. Lets him know he's there, unsettles him hopefully, but you don't unsettle him, Earnhardt, any more than you would have Bodine or Rutman. Any of these guys will run up front. It's just part of the business.
That's part of the business. As I said a moment ago, they've looked at them there 100 times before, thousands of times, and saw that fella running second and knew what he was trying to do. And they said, not today.
You know, they say the only time that Richmond was determined by the last lap with a pass was back in 1957, Benny, when Glenn Wood passed Curtis Turner on the last lap.
Quick note for you folks who have tuned in for track and field action. The racetrack action here running a little long at Richmond because of the early crashes, but we will have the Vitalis track meet immediately following the checkered flag in the conclusion of today's race. We're going to stay with this one right down to the wire, but the Vitalis track meet will follow immediately on TBS Sports. So stay with us for a great sports lineup, track action, whether you like it on 2 feet or 4 wheels. We've got it for you.
30 laps to go this time by. 30 to go this time by. McDuffie just a tad squirrely and almost put a bumper into the side of number 11. Got it down just in time and hold it. Don't forget that lying third in the event is Joe Rutland. And back and forth is Jeff Bodine. And he's back a ways, about a third of a lap down. Almost more than a third of a lap down.
He's about a straightaway. Jeff Bodine about 1 straightaway, 3 or 4 seconds behind the 2 leaders right now. Darrell Waltrip needed for the 3 car. Dale Earnhardt to get hung up in some of that traffic a moment ago. Earnhardt the expert getting through the traffic, had no problem. Waltrip, car 11, has to follow him through.
Here at the STP race headquarters, Richmond, Virginia, setting up for a shootout. Dale Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip, nose to tail, 2 seconds back in closing. Joe Ruttman, a 3-rider battle for the checkered flag here. Now less than 25 laps to go. Let's go back to Ken Squire.
Last lap, last names don't mean a thing when they drop a green flag on one of these races, but last laps 9 times out of 10 do, and here today in Richmond it looks like one of those cases. We have Dale Earnhardt in front and challenging every inch of the way in these final moments. Darrell Waltrip is right there in car number 11. Struggle is on all the way around this racetrack. When they come by this time, 19 laps to go.
You know, last week we read about a couple of weeks ago all the slingshotting and what have you. There is no slingshotting in Richmond, Virginia. Right now it's muscle, and Darrell Waltrip may have it. He cannot make it. But there's no slingshotting here. It's all muscle.
That's right. No slingshots, but a lot of drop kicks. Here's Waltrip to the inside. You saw them both just sashay a little coming off the corner. One thing that the pictures don't capture so often is just how much speed there is here. I mean, that's 600 feet. That's over about 110, they say, about 110 mile, 150 mile an hour in these very short straightaways. Then you arch them through these corners. Just touch that brake and roll that throttle down to the inside. Look at Waltrip snap that wheel as he tries to find a way to move off his teammate, number 12 Bonnet, falling another lap down. Ruttman's third, Bodine's fourth, Kyle Petty's fifth. Neil Bonnet is in sixth, a lap down. Bobby Allison in seventh, Bobby Hillin in eighth, Dave Marcus ninth, Jimmy Means 10th, Rusty Wallace in 11th, and Davey Allison having a great day in 12th.
Well, with 14 and a half laps to go, Ken Squire, it doesn't get any better than this. This is what it's all about. Trying to win the race. 15 laps to go. You got a faster car, but the guy in front of you ain't letting you go by. Darrell Waltrip, what are you going to do now? We're going to find out just a couple of minutes.
I'll tell you what, this would give you a headache good for about 3 goodies. Running this hard all day and coming down to the finish with no interval, getting banged and wrapped all over this racetrack. There are those leaders. You wonder, there's 95, Davey Allison, who we just mentioned having a tremendous day out here. Started right alongside Richard Petty, and he has just driven magnificently today. Let's go back with the leaders now as cars number 3 and 11 go down the main straightaway into turn number 1 with 386 laps now complete. Waltrip looks like he's getting ready to make the move. He wants to get through that. Joe Ruttman stays in third. He is about 2.5 seconds back. Bodine has closed up a little on him, but Bodine is off his feet.
Good time to look at the history book here at Richmond. Dale Earnhardt won this race a year ago. Darrell Waltrip won the fall race. Career-wise, that was Earnhardt's first win on this racetrack. Darrell Waltrip has won here 6 times. And in fact, his team, Junior Johnson's team, has won half of the short track races that they've run over the last 10 years. If you got to put an historian's dollar down on this battle, put it on Waltrip.
No question about that, David. I mean, the history of Waltrip on short tracks with Junior Johnson has been an incredible story, and it looks like it may get written again. But Earnhardt, who's having to worry about what's out front, has to worry just as much about what's out back. He's got to worry about all those lap cars in front, and he's got to keep eyeing to see where that number 11 is going to make its move.
Yeah, the only problem with Junior Johnson having won 50% of the short track races, he didn't have that car 3 in front of him that many times, because I tell you what, Waltrip in car 11, he's got his work cut out for him. This is exciting.
10 laps to go when they come by this time. Down for the finish. You're here on the Super Station watching one of the super short track races on the Winston Cup Tour. 10 to go. And you're seeing millions of dollars worth of talent being stretched right to the limit. It has been a put the hammer down and hammer on the bumpers all afternoon kind of auto race. Waltrip is there. You know, I love short track racing, and when you get to see the very best of America's stock car drivers perform like this, Benny, I don't think it gets any better than this. I love the super speedways, but this to me is special. When they get out there and do their stuff like they have in 3, 4, 5, 600 races over their lives, it's quite a show.
It is exciting. As I mentioned a moment ago, there's no slingshotting, there's no draft. It's muscle, nothing but muscle. Horsepower, handling, tires, driver, everything about a race car it takes to win you.
And when you figure they've slung those 3,700-pound cars some 800 times around this thing in this relentless move. No dilettantes here walking off the court because of some official call. They'll hang it in there all the way.
Now there's some traffic right up in front of them right now. Jimmy Means and Lake Speed.
Up there goes Waltrip trying the outside. Let's see if he does a fake to the inside. Waltrip likes that move. He used to do a lot in Nashville. He'd throw the dummy on the outside and bang you on the inside. Jimmy Means is there. At 52. Great day.
Oh, he touched Earnhardt. Jimmy Means touched Earnhardt coming out of the fourth corner. Dale got a little bit sideways, but not enough to get him to spin him around.
If you're just joining us, again, note that number 9 is about 39 laps down, 40 laps down. His car got savaged here early in the going, and this track is just not Elliott's track. He lost a car here last year.
5 laps to go. 5 laps to go. This time by
Waltrip moves in.
He's running out of time. Darrell Waltrip's running out of time.
If you've been with us all the way through this, remember 100 laps or so ago when Waltrip was a lap down, he threw a punch and knocked Earnhardt sideways, and then they turned around and did it the other way around. Benny, are they even 1 punch apiece, and now they'll settle it on a final lap?
They're even right now. I was thinking about that a moment ago, but they're even right. Darrell tried to get along. They're even right now, Dave. Nobody's got anything coming right now. Oh, they get sideways.
He hit him coming off, and he hit him going in. He used up all of his bumper that time, and I thought that perhaps Earnhardt came off a little early on the gas that time, which is a good way of trying to break the line of the fellow behind you. Here's Waltrip, keeps him straight, but he keeps on tapping. Now Waltrip on the inside. Side by side. Down to the inside.
Oh!
4 cars. There it goes.
There's Bodine into the fence. Joe Ruttman spins around. Who's going to win the race? Where's Kyle Petty? Kyle Petty is slowed down. He's going slow.
Caution is
Kyle
out.
Petty's going to win the race.
397. I think Kyle's going to take it home.
Joe Ruttman gets going again. I think he's going to run second.
Car number 3 comes around. All beaten up. Wild finish here at Richmond.
Earnhardt's got his car going again, but Kyle Petty has passed him while he was sitting over there. Joe Ruttman has passed him.
Joe Ruttman is all beaten up. Look at the back of Ruttman's car. In replay, let's look at what happened. There are now 2 laps to go.
Darrell Waltrip's alongside of him.
There's the hook. Bang.
Earnhardt came down, caught the right rear of Darrell's car, and both of them spin. Darrell hits the car hard. Joe Ruttman can't control the car. If he could just keep them spinning. Look at Neil Bonnet's car. Look at Bonnet's car coming down the front.
Neil Bonnet's coming by.
That's
Waltrip's car with nothing left is coming down by us now. We'll take a look at.
There's Bodine and coming into the
checkered flag is about to come out. Checkered flag will come down, and I think Kyle Petty is going to win it for the Wood brothers. Caution is on the racetrack. Take a look at number 11. There's number 7 that came through that calamity up here on the last lap. Coming down, Harold Kinder, flag in hand, and Kyle Petty, who watched it all. Checkered flag is coming out, I believe, right now. They're only showing 398 complete, but I believe that's 400. And checkers are down. Kyle Petty has won it. And we want to look again at exactly what happened up here in turn number 3. There's going to be some tempers after this one.
Oh, man.
Kyle Petty goes up on the board in the wins column. His first Winston Cup victory coming on the track where his dad dominated for so many years up through to the mid-70s. Kyle Petty has won it for the Wood brothers in car number 7. And the story again is what happened in turn number 3. Let's take a look again, Benny. Here they were.
They're going down the back straightaway. Earnhardt drives in the right rear quarter of Waltrip.
Takes himself out.
Takes himself out. 26, Joe Ruttman, he can't get through without spinning there. Ruttman gets through, but he spins. Bodine spins in on the outside of the, we see him obscured up there, but he spins and hits the outside retaining wall. There's Darrell Waltrip's Chevrolet, and it is torn up.
That's gone away.
It's stalled on the back straightaway. It can't go any farther. That's as far as it'll go.
Kyle Petty is headed for victory lane. A disappointed, discouraged Waltrip trying to gather himself up, climbing out. Thought he was going to victory lane. Instead, he's going to take that one over to the boneyard. There's nothing left of car number 11 today.
He did a great job getting up there, too. He and Earnhardt had swapped some sheet metal down in turns 1 and 2.
Earnhardt's number 3 comes in. Incredible finish.
I'm numb. I don't really know what to say.
Let's go to the winner's circle right now.
Okay, we're down here in the victory lane. We're down here in victory lane with the winning driver. He's taking the steering wheel off the car. Come on, Kyle. You don't have to comb your hair. Get out here. Kyle Petty's getting a proper attire on. He's removed the steering wheel from this Wood Brothers car, which has been out of the winner's circle for quite some time. Come on out, Kyle. Here he is. Here's the winner. Hey. Congratulations. You surprised?
Surprise ain't the word for it. I mean, you know, we worked hard all day. You know, the car pushed all day long, and we could never get it. The motor ran real good. But, you know, we never got the driving right until right there at the very end, and then they just drove off and left, and I got caught in traffic. But evidently, they all got to running each other, and we were lucky.
Did you see the crash?
No, I was in the middle of the backstretch, and I seen the smoke. I just run up on Daddy and them, and him and I guess the 10 cars, Sykes and those guys, and was trying to just feel my way around them to finish the race. And looked down the corner, and I seen a yellow bumper, and I figured it was Bodines or Earnhardt's. I didn't know which one it was, but we was fortunate, real lucky today.
Well, congratulations. Here's Patty, your wife. Patty, pleased?
Well, I'm just praising the Lord for us being out of the way and everything today, and the Lord giving us the opportunity to be here.
Well, that's great. Patty and Kyle Petty, a happy start in winner's circle. Back to you, Ken.
We'll try to get a word of the other participants as to what happened here. Let's take another look at this final moment with about 3 laps to go. This was it, turn number 3, 11-3, getting into contact. Then Joe Ruttman ran out of room, and that was the story. It set it up for Kyle Petty to take his first victory. Let's go quickly to Jerry Garrett.
Dale Earnhardt, what was your view on what happened in that accident?
Just hung up with old Darrell. We got in the wall.
Close racing all day. Do you think it was going to come down to that?
I was hoping we could race on, but we just hung up. Congratulations, old Kyle. You know, he's sitting in the right place at the right time.
Who do you feel hit who on that last thing between you and Darrell?
I just racing. I ain't going to, you know, me and Darrell's got to race week to week. There ain't nothing to it.
Okay, obviously not too anxious to talk about it too much more.
We'll try to get a word with Darrell Waltrip.
Wait a minute, stay there, Dave.
Get Leonard in here.
Where's my buddy, the track?
Then we got to get everybody in here.
Let's look again at the circumstances that created Kyle Petty's first victory in Winston Cup racing, and the first for the Wood Brothers since July 4th of 1983. 11 car getting hooked by number 3, and away they go. Bodine is about to get trapped.
Joe Ruttman tries to go on the inside. He can't make it. That's Bodine that just ran into the pile up there. If he could just gotten through, he would have been the victor. We still haven't seen Kyle Petty. He still hasn't come through. There's Joe Ruttman.
He really tried to keep it under control.
Bodine on the outside, hitting the outside guardrail. Heavy damage to the Bodine car.
Jerry Garrett has a report on Darrell Waltrip.
Well, Ken, we tried to talk to Darrell Waltrip, and he said he'd rather not. He says, there's nothing I can say. There's nothing I ought to say right now the way I feel. He did want his parents at home to know that he's okay.
So Kyle Petty wins his first race. His dad wound up 20th today. Joe Ruttman comes home in second place. Dale Earnhardt for third. Bobby Allison for fourth. Darrell Waltrip is credited with fifth. Bobby Hillen comes across in sixth, and finishing in seventh was Neil Bonnet. Bodine is credited with eighth at this time. In ninth, Dave Marcus, and in 10th was Rusty Wallace. 11th was Jimmy Means. 12th went to Davey Allison this afternoon. 13th went to Doug Heveron. 14th to Buddy Arrington, and 15th went to Terry Labonte's car number 44. J.D. McDuffie is credited with 16th, Lake Speed with 17th, Ron Bouchard back in 18th, Greg Sachs with 19th, and as we mentioned, Richard was in 20th spot. Bill Elliott was given 21st on the count. Here's a report from Chris Economaki.
Okay, we're here with promoter Paul Sawyer. It was a huge crowd, Paul. They tell us that the new speedway you're planning may become a reality soon. How soon would that be?
Chris, it looks like the way the thing's progressing, we'll have a full announcement within the next 90 days. We're pretty certain where we want to locate it and where it's necessary to locate it. All of the financial problems are being ironed out, and I'd say within the next 30, 60, 90 days it's over with.
Thank you very much, Paul Sawyer, the promoter here, having a big, big day. Ken?
All right, that's the story here this afternoon. There were a total of 9 cautions today. Let's get a quick word from Dave Despain.
How's it going to be remembered? Will it be remembered as the day that Earnhardt and Waltrip did it again and knocked one another out of the race? Or will that overshadow the first victory ever for one of the great names in this sport, Kyle Petty, following in his father's tradition, finally won one? It's a bit of a shame he had to back into it.
For Benny Parsons, Chris Economaki, Jerry Garrett, Bob Barsha, and Dave Despain, I'm Ken Squire, here at the Richmond Fairgrounds, where Kyle Petty reigns supreme.